For so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight. Oh, the ramparts we walked were so gallantly streaming, and the Oh, the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Inside the Gamecocks, the morning show, presented by the West Law Firm and Resto Pros of the Midlands, part of the Chief Sports Network, and proud partners of On 3, Go Gamecocks.
He'll be fine on the mountain.
Consecutive home runs for Carolina.
It is good. It's gone.
He's in. Touchdown. Williams with a throw to the plate.
He's going to score. It's a walk-off.
Touchdown, South Carolina.
All right, greetings and good morning. Welcome aboard. Welcome home. Inside the Gamecocks, the morning show, presented by our friends at Resto Pros, who are always there when you need them. Resto Pros of the Midlands, Resto Pros Midlands, SC.com. Our buddies at the West Law Firm have been representing this great state and the people inside of it for over 8 decades. Head to West Law Firm, SC.com. We appreciate them helping present our coverage of South Carolina football this fall as well. Again, visit westlawfirmsc.com. The golden tones of the great Mike Morgan are in. Phil and JC will be here coming up at 11 o'clock. We've got a PT appearance in about 15 minutes or so. Preston Thorne will rejoin us for his weekly Tuesday spot. And then down from Tampa, Florida, it is David Cloninger. He is with the Post and Courier. He will be covering SEC Media Days as we are. And that is part of our Gamecock Report presented by Gamecock Traditions.
What's going on in Gamecock Country? It's the Gamecock Report presented by Gamecock Traditions on the morning show. Visit GamecockTraditions.com or in Lexington and get your gear and apparel today.
All right, we are knocking on the door of football season here. If you'd like to meet a fast, tall, very good wide receiver, his name is Nick Harbor, and you can do it at 11 o'clock Saturday morning at Gamecock Traditions in Lexington. 11 to 12:30, there is a $10 ticket to be able to get in, but that $10 will go towards the purchase of any item that you want Nick Harbor to sign. How about that? So Nick Harbor event coming up this Saturday morning, 11 o'clock, Gamecock Traditions in Lexington. If you go to GamecockTraditions.com to do your shopping, where there's over 100 new Nike checkmark items, thank you to them for sending this, you can also register for this event. Again, $10, and that will go towards the purchase of an item that Nick Harbor will sign for you. Pretty cool event there. Pretty cool event in Tampa, Mike. It's Media Days.
My mic.
You there? Okay.
I hope so.
Yeah,
I don't
good.
know. Okay.
You're good. You're good.
Good deal.
You've been a part of a lot of Media Days, but not in Tampa. Not in Tampa. This is
No, never in Tampa. All mine were in Birmingham. Well, and the one in Atlanta. That was in my backyard.
The beaches of Birmingham are beautiful.
I once got somebody upset on my show just talking about Birmingham. I was like, what is there in Birmingham? There's actually a place that has, and I'm not kidding this, lesbian karaoke. A lot of the media members go there for a night.
JC would love something like that.
Oh, he would crush it.
Yeah.
They would love him and he would love them. I could see that happening. But I think they said, well, there's what is it called? The Vulcan? There's like this big when you're driving I-20 into Birmingham, Hoover, there's a statue of some sort. That's 5 seconds of entertainment. After that, I don't have much for you.
Yeah. I haven't spent a ton of time in Birmingham, but
you probably never will.
No, probably not. But I do love the state of Alabama.
Alabama's great.
Alabama state. Yeah.
Auburn's great. Tuscaloosa's great. Montgomery's not bad. Mobile's beautiful. Shout out to Mark Calvey. Fire Mark Calvey.
Greenbow, beautiful town.
Don't think that's an actual town.
Really? No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, just kidding. You can win a few bar bets with that.
But they're not there. They're in Tampa, and Shane Beamer will take the podium at 2:55 this afternoon. 2:55 players behind him on the main stage, 3:35 to 3:55. Remember, Nick Harbor is there. So is Lenore Sellers. So is senior safety Peyton Williams. Those are the three representing the Gamecocks. Shane Beamer is on the set of, I guess he would be on with Feinbaum if that time is, yeah, okay. So Shane Beamer will be live on the SEC Network set this afternoon at 4:35 with Paul Feinbaum. 4:35. So he'll make the run. Listen to this, Mike. Everybody think, people who don't know, like you do. You've been there. You've gotten these emails and schedules and et cetera, et cetera. If you're a head coach, this is Shane Beamer's schedule today. 1:30 to 1:45, he's in with SEC Creative, which means like when you're watching the SEC Network, guys, throughout the season, you see all these videos and things that they show during the games and little features. That's where that comes from. They're doing creative, getting all their stuff done. Okay, so you've got creative at 1:30. The SEC Network social stuff from 1:45 to 1:55. SEC Radio from 2 to 2:10. Sirius XM 2:10 to 2:20, if any of you want to catch that. CBS 2:20 to 2:35. That's odd.
Yeah, I mean, CBS still covers the SEC. They just don't have the games.
Well, that's true. Okay, good point. Yeah, all right.
I think Brad Crawford might be there.
Yeah, it'd probably be Brad. Okay.
I mean, Danny Cannell was with CBS. I don't know if Danny would go to SEC Media Days. He might not be welcome there. But yeah, they still cover it. I think CBS does a fairly good job covering college football.
Well, I do too. I agree with that.
I like some of their guys, but yeah, they lost the SEC game of the week to pick up like the number 3 Big Ten game. Not sure if that was a win.
He got some Big West games too. He's got electronic media after that.
Sure he does.
For 15 minutes, and then he has to find a way to still talk in the main room. And then he's got 40 minutes of stuff to do with ESPN, and then the Marty and McGee sit down that will air probably in the next week or two, I would imagine, on the SEC Network. That's a 20-minute deal, and then he's on with Feinbaum. I don't know what he'll have left to say on the Feinbaum set, but it'll be all of them, Feinbaum, and I don't know if Jordan, whoever, but from that group, there'll be a bunch of guys up there. So that's Shane's schedule today. I'm not going to read the schedule for all the other guys, but you can figure it out from there. If you were up late last night, we started having some news coming, so I had to run to the computer at 9 o'clock and put out a little baseball report that South Carolina had 3 committed prospects who were not public. One of them did go public today, a left-handed pitcher, Nick Gibson, from a junior college, Central Arizona. He actually was previously committed and then had some arm troubles. They separated because he wasn't going to be able to pitch at South Carolina. But he has recommitted, and he went public with it this morning. The other 2 guys can't talk about yet. One of them is a 26 in-state guy. One of them is a 27 out-of-state guy. So for those who are following along, South Carolina is 2 shy from completing their roster in 2027. And they did have a very big visitor yesterday. And this is Ethan Bass, is his name, a top 60 player nationally who was committed to Wake Forest. High draft number. So they passed on him. He got out of his letter of intent. He has visited Columbia, and we know things went very well. But Arkansas and LSU are knocking on the door. and we'll see if the Gamecocks can hang on. If they can grab him, then they'll need one more in the 2020 to finalize the 2027 roster.
I will have. That's it. Okay.
That's it.
Well,
yeah,
wrap her up. Closing music and billboards and sponsors and all that good stuff.
Yeah, that's it. Well, nothing to it. Gamecock Report, GamecockTraditions.com, where you can get your checkmark gear.
And that'll be in garnet, not in red, correct?
It is absolutely garnet.
Okay.
Yeah, looks great.
I know when I worked with those guys years ago, nothing ticked off Scott Satterfield, and he had an assistant, Brian, more than some of the merchandise coming in that was more red than garnet.
I've
like,
never been
how
able to
hard
figure
is
out
it to?
I know.
It's just you mean to tell me a company like Nike can't add a color to the wheel?
Right. Come on.
Come on, man.
There were issues with it, which is just so South Carolina to me. So South Carolina, but they're getting it right.
You weren't alone in thinking. I'm sure there are other people just palm to forehead, like, really?
Yeah. Come on.
Come on.
Like,
you're better than that.
I'm gonna tell you what. And I know that again, they're it's gonna be okay. It's gonna be okay. But if it wasn't, let's say South Carolina trotted out there 12, more like 11:45-ish to get warmed up for the Kent State Golden Flashes, and their uniforms looked anything other than garnet, there would be a strong cry to switch back to Under Armour real quick.
Yeah.
Under Armour was the best. Why did we ever switch from them? Wait, weren't you the guy that for 10 years has told me that everybody was losing around here because they didn't have a chat mark on their chest?
Right. Well, if you lose to Kent State, I think the uproar will be greater than just the uniforms. The apparel company, that's going to go a lot higher than just that. But I don't think that's going to happen. That'll be yeah. I think as a staff, everybody could just call in sick on Monday if that happened.
We will.
I'll get to this on the JT's Kia drive around the SEC, but since you mentioned baseball, the portal rankings, I know you know where Carolina finished, but it was very high, as you might expect. Now, of course, there's a yin and yang to that, right? That means part of that is those are spots that could be taken by high school kids that could help build the foundation of your program. But if you want to win right away and not play just the long game, you do have to be pretty heavy in the portal. And I will tell you this, it's not just programs with a new coach that went heavy in the portal. There's a lot of SEC teams with significant veteran coaches that went heavy in the portal. So I will hit on that later on since you broached the subject. But I know we'll be football heavy today and virtually every day for the rest of 2026. I think you could make the argument. Remember yesterday for media days, I thought the argument could be made, I don't think it was much of one, that Venables and Heupel, those were kind of the headliners, right? All due respect to Missouri and Kentucky. Will Stein, win Will Stein's money. He, I think he hit a home run in the press conference, but so will John Summerall and so will Alex Golesh. Talk is cheap, man. Like I've been around this thing too long where I hear fan bases, oh man, there's so much different with this guy. He says all the right things and he's truly one of us. Yeah, all that means nothing the moment you go on a 3-game losing streak. So, but Stein, I mean, he is impressive. What's more impressive to me about Stein, and I'll say this, I'll give Kentucky 60 seconds of time because it is a Carolina opponent the last time I checked. Go look at what Will Stein did with the last 3 quarterbacks at Oregon, none of which were homegrown.
Mm-hmm.
They were all transfers that all were better under Will Stein at Oregon. Who do I speak of? Well, Dante Moore, of course, the last one, who would have been a first-round draft pick if he went out, was a legitimate Heisman Trophy candidate, was not on my ballot for top 3, but if it was 5, he probably would be. Dylan Gabriel. People thought when he left Oklahoma, Dylan Gabriel's going to be exposed. No, he was better. And Bo Nix, who was a dumpster fire for some of his Auburn career and was booed by the Auburn fans. He goes to Oregon, plays brilliantly, becomes a first-round draft pick, and is now one of the better quarterbacks in the NFL.
Yeah.
When you have that kind of track record, that's how you get an SEC job without ever being a head coach.
Sure.
That's the book on. So the rah-rah speeches, again, you watch, I guarantee you, because I've already heard this, Jamie. You're going to hear Auburn fans, and I'm a fan of both these coaches, so this is not me like, throwing shade at John Summerall or Alex Golish. But watch Auburn fans go, man, Golish, God, what a refreshing change. I mean, he goes to that microphone and he commands the room. John Summerall, whew, Billy Napier sounded like he was on 3 Ambiens, which is actually true. And this guy looks like he's ready to go bench 500 and squat 750 and then run a 10K and an Ironman. That's what we need. Oh, that's great, man. But the microphone does not win you games. Pounding your chest and winning the press conference does not win you games. So it'll be fun in the meantime to do that. But and Clark Lee goes today. I love Clark Lee. I think he's one of the most intelligent coaches I've ever covered. Mm-hmm. Kirby Smart will obviously be the headliner, and he's already spoken. I think he just wrapped up a few minutes ago while we were on the air. And Kirby is great. And would you believe this? Kirby's the dean of the SEC.
Oh, yeah. I know.
11th year, because what happens? Saban retires and Stoops gets fired. All of a sudden, here's Kirby Smart. Seems like just yesterday he got the job, right? Carolina went after him. Georgia panicked, said, oh, crap, we can't let South Carolina get Kirby Smart, which would have happened. If Georgia doesn't come open, Kirby Smart is in Columbia. What would Gamecock football look like now? I'd love – we could play that game of just like fictitiously put him in there and see what 10 years of Kirby would have looked like. Who knows? And what would Georgia have looked like if they didn't get Kirby? Again, who knows? But he's the dean of SEC coaches now. So he'll be the headliner coaches-wise. But I would make the argument, if I'm one of those 1,100, whatever it is, media members, and how many stations are on radio, you got to pay to be on Radio Row. That was always a thing. Like we had to have our sales staff sell stuff in order to pay for us to go there, get in a hotel. You got to pay for the phone lines to get all connected. Those folks are going to be gravitating toward 2 players, I think, almost more than anybody else, and that's Lenora Sellers and Nick Harbor. I think those two players, all due respect to running back Cedric Alexander of Vanderbilt, all due respect to Alex McPherson, the kicker for Auburn. I don't think I've ever seen a kicker at media days. All due respect to Drew Bobo, the offensive lineman and son of Mike Bobo. Now, Gunnar Stockton obviously will be right up there too. But it's Stockton, Sellers, and Harbor in any order you pick. If I'm on Radio Row, if I could go back in time and let's say this show, through the magic of incredible funding and overall prowess, says we're going to send the guys to Tampa this year for media days, I want Harbor and Sellers and Stockton. The rest of them, you can go ahead and no, we're good. Thank you. No, appreciate it as the CSID trying to push the long snapper on you. No, we got it. Thank you. We're about to hit a commercial break. I would want Lenora Sellers and Nick Harbor because everybody knows who they are. First of all, I remember last year being on the field before the Vandy game and walking by Diego Pavia, who looks like a guy I'd find in my bowling league if I was in a bowling league, and then walking next to Lenora Sellers and Nick Harbor. And it's just a different brand of athlete. Oh. Now, Pavia was the better player last year, but they look like aliens. Mm-hmm. Like, you just like 19, 20, 21-year-olds are not supposed to look like this. They are just, and then you think about how fast they are. You think, well, okay, they're that big, but they can't actually, no. Harbor's like the fastest guy in college football. And Lenora Sellers is one of the shiftiest and fastest quarterbacks in college football. So I think the Gamecock athletes, and we'll throw out Peyton Williams too, but the Gamecock athletes will steal the show in terms of the demand for Radio Row there. And it's a great opportunity for them. Look, you're talking about 2 guys that have the potential, and I stress the word potential, to be first-round draft picks. Mm-hmm. I think Harbor's got to really ball out this year to do so. But when Nick Harbor goes to a combine, oh my God, they're just going to be salivating if you could back that up with production. and then Lenora Sellers is the ultimate wild card, as we all know. One of the things, last thing, Jamie, I know we got to get to break. Three of the main guys I respect at SEC Network, Jordan Rogers, Chris Doring, and Aaron Murray, all chimed in with their top 5 quarterbacks in the SEC. We'll go over that list as well.
Can't wait for that. Can't wait for Preston Thorne. It's 10:21. We'll hit a quick timeout, and we'll get him in as soon as we return.
Subscribe to thebigspur.com. Proud partners of On3.
Gamecock Traditions is your Nike superstore and your home for anything and everything with a South Carolina logo. Visit us in the Midlands and order online at GamecockTraditions.com. Go Gamecocks!
It's time to bring the gym to you. Do it your way, on your time, in your home. We all have busy lives, kids, work, and anything else that can interrupt our daily routine. Maybe it's free weights or a treadmill. Maybe it's a rower or a home gym. Visit Charleston Fitness Equipment and start taking care of you. Do it your way. CharlestonFitnessEquipment.com. Go Gamecocks.
Visit fourquarterfriday.com and join the Varsity Club for just $1 today.
Whether it's fireside or poolside, if it's time to watch the Gamecocks, Palm Casual will make your outdoor space the best it can be. Visit palmcasual.com and come see us at one of our South Carolina locations. Go Gamecocks!
Today and every day, we celebrate our great state of South Carolina. This week, our hometown highlight takes us to the PD in Lake City, home of the great Darla Moore and our friends in Johnsonville. We love the PD.
Hey guys, this is Mason West with the West Law Firm. We want to say hey to all our friends and family out in Lake City and the Johnsonville areas. This is a great football part of the state. We can help y'all out in any way. Give us a call, 843-897-7525.
This is ITG, presented by the South Carolina Education Lottery. Visit sceducationlottery.com. A win for education in the Palmetto State.
Your love lifting me higher than I've ever been lifted before. So keep it up, quench my desire, and I'll be at your side forevermore. You know your love keep on lifting me higher, higher and higher. I say your love keep on lifting me higher and higher.
All right, it is 10:24. Welcome back, and it is SEC Media Days down in Tampa, Florida, and that is where we find on the beaches of the Sunshine State a very baseball-dressed Preston Thorne. What's up, man?
Man, we're wearing vintage today, man. You got the new stuff on. I got vintage now.
That's bringing back memories right there.
Looks great. Is there a name on the back of that, or is it just
No. Just this is. I don't know. I know we got to get into serious stuff, but this is my favorite Carolina jersey.
Oh,
so this is the one that I love. So I found it in a vintage sale because obviously we made the big move since the last time we talked, I believe. So yeah, I had to pick it up.
Did you get one for your wife where you have like his with an arrow pointing to her and hers pointing to, or wait, hers, his and hers?
No, we didn't do that. We didn't do that. That is an idea.
Or like the big chunky guy walking around the baseball park, his number's 6 and his wife's number is 9. Okay, that's enough. That's enough. We'll move on. We've seen those too. Well, we have arrived. Good to see you. I hope you had a wonderful 4th. We've been off the air for a few weeks together, and we have missed you, my friend, the pride of Summerville, South Carolina. Shane Beamer's going to step up there today, and God only knows what type of questions he'll get and who they'll come from. But if there's a burning one, what would it be on your end?
Ooh, a burning one is what role are you going to play in the offense this year, and what role have you played in the previous years? It'd be something along those lines. Or maybe something. Maybe I'll throw a little softer one at them. What makes this year's offense different than the previous years? Something along those lines, because I think any conversation that is being had about South Carolina 2026 has to start and end with the offense/offensive line.
Very well said. You kind of left me speechless there, which is rare. I put out a column on the Big Spur a couple of days ago in our countdown to kickoff. 5 questions that should be asked that I think should be asked, and there were certainly a couple of those. The way that I phrased it was from an offensive standpoint, a couple of things here on Bryles and the offense in general. Press, what makes Norris Sellers who he is at quarterback, and why is he better fit in Kendall Bryles' offense than the offense that he played in last year or in previous years? I think that's kind of along the same lines in what you're saying here right now. I know, like, people who might be listening to this are going, "What do you mean? What makes him who he is? Haven't you watched him play?" I have watched him play. We're talking about what question would you ask him, because we're trying to get inside the brain of Coach Beamer, right? Like, if he is a perfect fit for Kendall Bryles, then it kind of opens the door, although it doesn't matter, but it opens the door as to, well, then why were you trying to run those type of offenses the last couple of seasons?
Yeah, and I think that's it. And again, we don't necessarily need to use this time to relitigate the past. I'm not asking them to do that, but for everything to be set up and for you to know what you had, maybe what is something you learned through the process, or maybe what is something that you're going to be looking for from Kendall's offense that'll let you know it's on the right track? Because last year, I mean, what was it? What game did he move on from Mike Shula? What game was that?
After Ole Miss.
So it was after Ole Miss, but I guess my ultimate point was we didn't need that long.
No,
it was pretty clear very early that this was not going to be a fit, and so I would wonder, aside from points or yards, what is the thing that you're going to see with Kendall Bryles' offense that's going to let you know that this is the right pick?
Well, did y'all know that through the Ole Miss game, that South Carolina averaged only 15 points per game, offensive points per game under Mike Shula? Did y'all know that stat?
Yeah, because it's in the Pick Six preview guide. But still, my favorite stat even goes back before that, Preston. Go back to the end of last season and how many consecutive games this team went without scoring 20 offensive points. That would include Clemson. That would include the bowl game. That would include Virginia Tech.
Well,
that would include Vanderbilt. The one outlier was the 1AA opponent. But if you take that off the board, I've never seen anything like it for an SEC team. And I'll go over some numbers later, but like the last 5 years, the last 10 years, it's unmistakable what the weakness of Gamecock football has been. It's offense, not defense at all. It is offense, and it's glaring, regardless of coordinator. It's glaring. It's something that you just sit back and you go, wait a minute. There's enough athletes around town. The recruiting has been good. The portal pickups have been good. Why don't the fans, when they get their season tickets, be able to go to the games and expect a lot of offense to be put on the board against quality opponents? I mean, even bad SEC teams have been able to move the ball and score points.
Yeah, and I don't love making these type of analogies, but it's the best one that I can make. But when your friend keeps coming on with bad partners and they're complaining about them the whole time,
right.
It's like, hey man, this is like the third one. This is the third one in a row. You keep complaining about them, but I don't know.
Here's the mirror, PT. Yeah. No, we all know that guy.
Exactly.
Man, they're all crazy, man. They're all crazy.
Yeah.
They're not all crazy.
I don't know, man.
I think that, when you look back last year, because there's two sides to this. I think that Coach Beamer has been spot on about everything that he said, and the fact that they were, and looking at it from a glass half full perspective and saying, hey, look, every game that we lost, matter of fact, the Alabama game was on the SEC network yesterday, and I had it on, and I was just sitting here still scratching my head trying to figure out, with 2.5 minutes to go and the Gamecocks up 8 points, how they lost by 7. And Shane, but to Shane's point, and he was right. Look, we were leading or within a score in the second half of all these games, and we couldn't get it done. The flip side of that is, without special teams and defense in the Virginia Tech game, in the South Carolina State game, and in the Kentucky game, those are all one-score games as well. And South Carolina, yes, while they would have been leading, anybody really going to feel good about leading South Carolina State by a touchdown in the fourth quarter? Whew. Oh, that's just, people got out of there and we all breathed a sigh of relief, and we tried to look at it from a different perspective, saying, well, they don't have their footing yet. It was kind of, I didn't buy into this. Well, it was a rain delay and it was a strange, nah, that's crap. That's bull. I don't buy that. I can buy the fact that they're still trying to figure themselves out on offense. I don't care about the time of day in which they kicked off. So it was, look, last year at 4-8, it also could have been like 1-11, but it also could have been like 7-5. It was just one of those really odd type of years. What I'm getting at here, one of the things we have learned about Shane Beamer, I think, Preston, I'd like you to expand on this. Look at the amount of time it's taken him to move on from coaches. Okay, it took a while for Shula. Well, it seemed like it took a while. It didn't take that long. It was only 9 games, but it was probably 8 too many or 7 too many. He did move on from Lonnie Teasley, but you could definitely argue that probably should have been done much sooner. But he does seem to let his coaches coach. I know there's a theory out there that he kind of interjects himself and this, that, and the other. Maybe he does to a degree. I don't know. But if he does let his coaches coach, while that can be a detriment to guys that aren't very good at it, it can certainly be a positive to guys that are. And you've got Kendall Briles running the offense now. So if he's hands off and says, hey, Kendall, it's your show, baby. I'm just going to be on the headsets and let's go from there. That could be a really good thing for the Gamecocks in 2026.
Yeah, I mean, that's what he hired Kendall for. And I imagine that's some of the conversations they had. Like, hey, listen, this is my show. You can hear everything. I'll be transparent, but I'm making the final calls. And you wouldn't, to be very blunt, you wouldn't pay Kendall that much money for him to be getting interjected with, because anybody could do that. Also, to that point, if Shane was that great at interjection, he'd just be calling all the plays all the time. So obviously he needs an offensive coordinator, and I think for him, this might help him be able to focus on being a head coach and taking care of some of the overall strategic things that he can really maybe focus on, as opposed to just having to worry that the person that's doing that job isn't necessarily getting it done to his standard.
Let me ask you this. I'm always curious. We need to get Mangus on and talk to Mangus about this too. I would imagine it's a little bit different with Spurrier, but if you are an OC like Kendall, who's been around doing it, been very successful for, the better part of a decade on your own without Dad, and then even prior to, and then you're in a crucial moment. Let's give a scenario here. South Carolina is up 3 or down 3. They're somewhere in the middle of the field where it's, do we punt or do we go? And it's 4th and 2. Preston, what is your intel on how some of those conversations work on the headsets? Where is it the head coach saying we're going, or is it, hey, Kendall, what do you have a play that would work here, or is Kendall's going, Coach, we're going for it? Like, walk us through that a little bit if you can.
Yeah, I think this is stuff that I'm always very interested in, because a lot of it deals with hierarchy, who's the senior guy, who has more experience, but from what I've seen in a lot of these scenarios, it might be an instance where the head coach goes, hey, OC, I'm gonna give you got 4 downs here. And he might tell him that on 2nd down, right? He's like, hey, you got 4 here, so figure something out. Or it might be, hey, our defense is playing well. Let's consider a field position game, right? Just just sort of setting the tone or the tenor for what the playmaker wants to call. Or it might be something like, hey, if you got something tricky in your bag, this is when you want to pull it out. Like just staying involved. Also, it's the other side where the head coach hears a call and he's like, nah, what else we got? What else? Like, what else? I don't like that one. And it all really depends on who is who. If you're calling plays for, and I would love to hear GA's conversation about this, because I'm sure he had autonomy, but you always know that the head ball coach is on there. And so you're calling what you think he would call, or you're calling something that he would approve of because you're in that mindset.
It's a great point. I'm trying to equate it to baseball because that's where my mind, like if I really trust my pitching coach, he's like, no, we're going with a fastball here. You got it. You call it.
Of course.
I'll live with it one way or another. With Shane, if you don't, I guess if you are in football in general, if you hire a guy, I feel like if you hire a guy like Kendall Briles, you're hiring him to make those decisions. I mean, you're paying him a bunch of money too, right?
Yes.
So, I mean, Kendall's got 15, 16 years more experience calling plays than Shane Beamer does, and he's the head coach. Part of being the head coach is hiring the guy to make the call. You don't have to make every call, I would think.
Right. Yeah, that's exactly it. That's why you hire him, and that's what. And all of that work is a lot of times done throughout the week. Hey, if we get this scenario, this is what we're looking at, so everybody can be on a similar page. But some calls do have to be made on the spot, and that's where, as a head coach, you need to feel great about your guy and understand that you hope he's going to make the right call, and two, if the wrong call, if the call doesn't work, you're like, hey, that's still my guy. I'm good with it.
Preston Thorne, 107.5 The Game, defensive tackle at South Carolina. Very world-renowned author, and he will come to a school and read for you as well. What is that website? athletesandartists.net?
Yes, sir.
There you go. Look at that. Did you ever go to Media Days?
I did not. I believe our boy Strickland went, and one of my Strickland, which was obviously a great choice, but Coach Holtz, and he was probably the best defensive player, but he sent George Goss. And George, I've known George for 25 years, and don't think I've heard George say 5 sentences total in my whole time with him. Great, one of the greatest people I know, one of my favorite teammates, but George don't speak a lot. It's so the concept of sending George to Media Day was always, everybody was like, all right, I guess, but George ain't gonna say a lot.
And I'm trying to think back in your era. I'm assuming Petty went.
Yeah, I believe Phil might have went. I mean, they usually try and offense, defense, or a senior or something along those lines. And
Dondrell.
But
Dondrell.
I think it might have been Dondrell, Strick, and George that went my senior year. Which again, Dondrell, great quarterback, well spoken. I believe Dondrell he's the AD of a school right now in Georgia. Perfect. George is a workman's workman, right? George, even to this day, George works on cable lines. You know what I'm saying? Like George is a man's man, and he's just out here for the Media Day type of stuff.
Yeah. Did you ever see the movie Fried Green Tomatoes?
Yes, I have.
All right.
Really?
You remember the big dude who was kind of like the town bouncer? That George Goss reminds me of that guy.
Perfect example.
Very
Perfect
quiet.
example.
Yeah. But Mr. Steady Eddie can do it all. Greatest guy in the world.
Absolutely. Just not going to get 2 sentences out of him.
Yeah. That's a great movie, by the way.
I just can't believe you guys found common ground on fried green tomatoes. I don't even know who you are anymore, Preston.
It's one of my mother's favorites.
Yeah.
Wasn't that like just a bunch of older ladies, right?
That is correct. A bunch of older Southern women sitting around.
Yeah.
Essentially.
Telling the story about a southern town at the time. Yeah.
One of my mother's favorites.
Preston, we'll see what Shane obviously has to say today, and then we'll kind of go from there. You never get much out of the main stage. I don't think that you do, but We get our shot with him next week, and then it's kind of go time from there. They will begin practicing on Friday morning, August the 7th. But look, here we are, man. Let's just kind of lay it out there. I mean, we know what they're rebounding from. I think it was the most disappointing season in the history of the program. And the reason that I say that, and I've got that up today on thebigspur.com, is because there's only been like 11 times in school history where the team entered the season ranked. And last year happened to be one of them. And not only did they finish unranked, they finished with a losing record with a kid who was a Heisman Trophy to start the year, and coming off of a 9-4 campaign. So coming off of a 9-4 campaign, so I felt like it was the most disappointing season ever when you bring in expectations. But as Mike Morgan has said around here, oftentimes you can turn it around quick. So if you are the Gamecocks in this time right now, there are some early things out there. There are some early rankings out there shoving them into the top 25 or right around it. If you're South Carolina, like, what is in your mind, like, what is that baseline? You look at this team, you look at the talent that you think that they have coming into the year, Shane Beamer, Kendall Briles, all the things adding up here. What is the baseline?
Well, I'll go back to what Mike was talking about before I got on, and I mean, I wasn't making fun of Clemson when I said it, and I wasn't the only one that said it. But the idea of you having that many players get drafted and only coming up with 7 wins was in a similar vein as probably the most disappointing season for Clemson last year. And they won't say that, but that's what I think it is. And I feel like South Carolina is going to be in a very similar place this year with having a potential number 1 guy as a quarterback, a potential first-round guy as a defensive end. Those are your 2 money positions. A potential high draft pick, maybe not first round, but a high draft pick guy in wide receiver. Bakari Swain is going to get drafted. I mean, we're going to have probably 5 to 6 guys go off. And if they can't match that level of wins to, I would say, the baseline of like 7 type of wins, then it would not be satisfying. I'm not saying it would be hot seat season or firing or whatever, but to me, anything less than 7 would be unsatisfying.
If this team Mike says 8, I think, right, Mike? I don't want to put words in your mouth, but yeah. I think you said you look at this roster, you think it's an 8-4 roster.
I think of the roster and the schedule. I look at the schedule too. Last year's schedule, I wouldn't have said 8. This year's schedule in this roster, I'm going 8. Like that to me, Preston, is the. I don't want to say it's the floor, but that's the baseline. Like, this to me should be a squad that could win 8 games with that schedule.
I'm totally fine with that.
Yeah, I think if you look at what we would consider projected starters on this team, okay, projected starters, peak, Dylan Stewart,
another projected first-round guy. You got a first-round projected tackle, first-round projected defensive end, first-round projected quarterback.
Well, that's what I'm getting at. You brought Swain into it. I think Peyton Williams is in line for a big year. 5th-year seniors who play for Torian Gray. I'll sign up for that all day. You look at the group of linebackers, the depth at defensive tackle. You look if you look on the 2 deep and you go, well, how many of these guys would start not only at other programs in the SEC, but some of the best programs in the SEC, Preston? I think there's a lot of them that would. And if there are, if we can sit here and rattle off, a dozen guys, we go, well, they would start at the top on teams in the top half of the league, then I just don't see any reason why South Carolina shouldn't be in the top half of the league.
I always bring this up. You know how a lot of times coaches they'll be talking to their teams and they say, I wouldn't trade any of you for any of them, and sometimes you're like, I don't know about that. I think Shane can honestly say that at a lot of positions. Like, hey, there's nobody in this league, maybe country, that I would trade my quarterback, my defensive end, my left tackle. The list is very slim. And when you can say that as a coach, there's a little bit of pressure for you to get things done.
Let's look at it. I mean, I don't want to go to 2027, but let's just go there for a moment. Now, the good news is, and we talked about this yesterday, recruiting has been consistently good. Portal pickups have been consistently good. You feel like the culture is consistently good under Shane. Win or lose, that to me is not even debatable. All those things which are important are in really good shape. I understand it's not the most important things because if you go 5-7, no one's going to want to hear about any of that. They're not going to give a crap. I get it. But realistically, you're going to lose a 3-year starter at quarterback, as you mentioned, a first-round left tackle, a potential top 10 pick in Dylan Stewart. Like, even if everything stays good, there's the potential that you're not going to have as talented a roster in 2027. So I think fans are left thinking, if we can't win at least 8 with this team in 2026, how excited am I about 2027? You know what I mean? Like, I just, to me, the stars are aligned pretty well for 2026, but there's no guarantee that you're going to be better in 2027. It doesn't, the ideal thing is like, well, in year 6, the coach is this good. And then year 7, you win 2 more but it never works that way. It's more of a roller coaster, especially Gamecock football over the years. We all know that, right? So take advantage of this situation that you have, because next year it's going to be a raw quarterback unless you go portal. You're not going to have, in all likelihood, a top 10 pick at the defensive end. You might not have as good an offensive line. If Nick Harbor turns into what he could potentially turn into, you might not have a guy that level on the perimeter. Like, all these things are possible. That you're not as good in 2027, so you might as well cash in on 2026.
I agree, and that's why I go back to that to the point that Jamie was making, where I hadn't heard it stated that plainly, but I think I'm going to steal that from here moving forward. Is that that 4-8 season was the most disappointing season of our Gamecock lives, just for all of the reasons that you laid out, because all those dudes were there last year.
Right.
And so,
right. Exception of Peak. Yeah, they were all there last year.
Yeah.
And the thing is, like, if you look at all the, and the official vote will come down at the end of media days, but all the magazines and everything now, it's the usual suspects at the top. And it's Texas and Georgia and Ole Miss at the top of the SEC. For South Carolina to be getting any love coming off of 4-8, that typically doesn't happen in college football. Like, if you're coming off 4-8, then everybody's going to say you're trash. You'll be lucky to win 6. You're not a real contender. So nobody could say the media is against the Gamecocks this year. In actuality, it's really, I mean, Phil Steele's got them as his 16 power team. Pick Six Previews has them, I think, number 20-something. Steele has them number 28. Like, these are all pretty high rankings for a team that was 4-8 and at times awful last season. So clearly people are looking at the Jimmies and the Joes and saying, you know what? I'm going to put my chips on the table that this is a classic turnaround situation going on in Columbia.
That's a great point. I'll be curious to see where the coaches put them this week. That has me. There's a lot of new coaches in this league too,
right?
But I'll be curious to see what their peers. If as much, I know Spurrier kind of handed it off to Jamie Sperone. He said, "I'll fill that thing out and we'll move on. We got to go. We got a tea time today." 6 to 9 a.m. 107.5 The Game. Preston Thorne. He's a great friend. But he is fantastic at what he does. PT, stat of the day for you. Stat of the day. Stat of yesterday, but I'll give it to you to pass along. Last 4 years, South Carolina is 107th in the nation in sacks allowed. Why? Nobody seems to have an answer. Maybe Randy Clements and Kendall Briles will. We'll find out. But 107th over the last 4 years. Not good. Not good. 3 coordinators, 2 offensive line coaches, 107th. Can we count on you next week?
I'll be here, man. It's about to be season time, so I'll be here and I'll be ready to go.
We'll see what other retro gear you've got to deliver.
Vintage
gear. Thank you, brother. Have a wonderful week, and thanks for all you do. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, man. Appreciate y'all.
Thanks, Preston.
Mike, take us to a timeout, please, sir.
Yeah, let's do so, and let's go ahead and tell you about a guy who has already helped. I always love when we get those unexpected, unsolicited testimonials from our listeners and how much they've benefited from our sponsors. And we've had a couple people who've already benefited from dealing with Gary Patterson. State Farm agent Gary Patterson, located in Lou Golf, handling not only every part of South Carolina, but also North Carolina and Georgia. A lot of Gamecock fans in Atlanta, I can tell you that. A lot of Gamecock fans in Charlotte, one of the biggest Gamecock clubs in the country, maybe the biggest. I've heard that stat before, but he's got you guys covered too, just so you know. In addition to Columbia, Lexington, Lugoff, Elgin, Camden, et cetera, et cetera. A lifelong South Carolina resident with deep roots, dedicated to protecting families and businesses. Over 35 years of experience. By the way, congratulations to Gary. He just got bumped up. So he was going to be in the Big Ten and kind of like the head of review in that conference. He's going back to the ACC. And the new gig, I want to make sure I get this right. He is now, there's a press release, ACC football officials chief. That sounds like a raise in pay to me. I'd like that title. So anyway, point is, we'll try to get him on the show. I know it's always touchy when you have people involved at that high a level to come on a show and actually talk about the rules and whatnot. I'd really like to get him on. So if you call him, get an insurance policy and then beg him, threaten him if you have to. Come on ITG or we're not giving you the business. But in all seriousness, he's really, really good. I always learn stuff from him. He's a guy, when I'm doing a game and I've got a question, I text him right quick. It's Gary Patterson. GaryPatterson.net is the website.
It is 10:52. We'll come back for a short segment, wrap up hour one, and then we'll take a drive at the top of hour two before grabbing our buddy David Cloninger from Tampa, Florida, right here on Inside the Gamecocks, the morning show, presented by Electric Bikes of Charleston.
If you own a home, don't wait on these home safety tips. Flush your water heater, clean your dryer vent, and inspect your roof annually. Don't forget to check washer hoses and caulk in wet areas. Visit RestoProsMidlandsSC.com.
A really common fear in a workman's compensation case is what's going to happen to my job if I report this injury? And my answer to that is you still need to report your injury. I'm dealing directly with the insurance company, and the insurance company is going to treat you like a file number. So let me make sure that doesn't happen to you. Let me get involved in your workman's compensation case.
Ryan Brewer Fence offers a variety of services ranging from fences and railings to columns. Our craftsmanship, experience, and service is second to none. Visit ryanbrewer.net today.
Andy, why are you burning all that money?
Because if you're buying a Honda or Toyota, that's exactly what you're doing. Look at the new Kia K4. It's $2,000 less than the Civic, and Honda only has a 5-year warranty. JT's Kia has a 1,000,000-mile warranty.
Don't forget JT's Advantage Package. Oil changes, roadside assistance, and so much more. Why burn money?
I-77 at Killian Road or Greystone Boulevard. We're serious about saving you money.
JT's Kia.
Kia Summer Sticker Sales Event.
Is this your golf game? It doesn't have to be. Visit McKellarEnterprises.org and improve your game today.
Do you carry? Carry responsibly with us. What could you lose from a self-defense act? Visit ProtectWithBear.com to find out more. ProtectWithBear.com.
This is Inside the Gamecocks, the morning show. Part of the Chief Sports Network.
Someday, lady, you'll accompany me where the rivers meet the sounding sea. I feel it in my soul, it's meant to be. Oh, someday, lady, you'll accompany me. Someday, lady, you'll accompany me. You will accompany me.
All right, it's going to be a real quick final segment of Hour 1. JC will join us at the top of Hour 2. So will the Mad Dog Mullinax as we roll right along here on Tuesday, SEC Media Days down in Tampa. Shane Beamer on the podium coming up at 2:55. Kirby Smart has already spoken. Alex Golish is up next, the new head coach of the Auburn Tigers. 11:35 is when he is set to go on the main stage. Clark Lee after lunch. Clark Lee coming off of a special year at Vanderbilt. And Clark will have plenty of questions, I'm sure, about how to replace Diego Pavia. He's at 1:30 today. And then there is head coach Shane Beamer. So we'll see in the audience when Shane steps up. A lot of these guys will kind of trickle out as the day goes along. And Kalen DeBoer will lead it off tomorrow. Before we get out, though, and into Hour 2, here's a great line. And we can talk about this coming up here in just a second, Mike. This morning, ESPN's Bill Connolly yesterday morning, put out his SEC college football preview, and it's got all of his usual stats and stuff like that. He's got the Gamecocks listed with Oklahoma, Ole Miss, Tennessee, Missouri, and Florida as a couple of breaks away from, maybe having a really special season. Of course, he's also got Auburn and Vanderbilt in there, but I'm not so sure I'm buying that just yet, but we'll see. Here's what he said. This caught my attention yesterday when I read it after the show. I'm just going to, I know the music will come on, but that's all right. Beamer has once again brought in loads of new faces. Kendall Briles moves over from TCU to become his fourth offensive coordinator in 5 years. And here's the sticking point. And again, we'll come back to it. While Lenoris Sellers and leading receiver Nick Harbor return to once again serve as the most intimidating pitch and catch combination in the country, they're two of only 6 offensive returnees who saw even 200 snaps last season. The most intimidating pitch and catch combination in the country, Sellers and Harbor, according to ESPN's Bill Connolly. Quite a statement on the front page of ESPN.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's one stat that would back that up to an extent. I don't know if I agree with it, but Nick Harbor averaged 20.6 yards a reception. That was number 1 in the SEC. So Is that intimidating? Yes. When he lines up on the outside and you're like, please don't run a go route. Please don't run a go route. And then you just keep backing up and backing up and backing up. And then this is where the evolution of Nick Harbor kicks in. Everybody know. I mean, I was amazed last year. There were some teams that just the safety wasn't deep on Harbor. Like you just let him go right by you. You do understand he's like a track guy. He can't do that. This year, I would expect SEC defenses. They watch a lot of tape, Jamie. I got a lot of tape in the old VCR room. Betamax.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to have to continue to develop as a guy that can run intermediate routes and a guy that can, and this will also be for the NFL, because every draft has a guy that can run a 4.28 but doesn't really project well because he can't run much else. Nick Harbor just needs to prove he can continue to evolve in that area. And if he does, then every bit of that statement is true.
Yeah.
I mean, because he becomes an absolute nightmare of a matchup. Now, some of these other guys have to, like, be a threat on the other side.
Yeah.
Anybody can shade a safety over and play cover 2 on Nick Harbor if you're not worried about Nitro Tuggle on the other side, just throwing out a name. Because I like the name Nitro Tuggle.
Oh, Nitro. I love that name. I love it. All right. Mike's got the keys, and the car is fueled. So we'll take a long ride around the SEC when we return.
Dry Space Crawl Space Solutions are your local home protection experts. Crawl space encapsulation, sump pump and drain installs, humidity control, duct cleaning, basement waterproofing, concrete leveling, and French drains. We do it all. Visit dryspacecs.com. dryspacecs.com. Go Gamecocks.
Is this your golf game? It doesn't have to be. Visit McKellarEnterprises.org and improve your game today.
Test ride at Electric Bikes of Charleston today. Road trip ready. Ride comfortably. Forget road fatigue. The Velotric Fold 1 Plus features our exclusive Comfort Max frame design for an effortless, upright riding posture and a low step through. With an adjustable seat and stem, you'll be feeling great and ready for the next campsite adventure. Your back will thank you. Visit Electric Bikes of Charleston. ElectricBikesCharleston.com.
Troy Branham of Golden Gate Mortgage can help you save big today anywhere in South Carolina. Over 27 years experience. Visit ggmortgage.com. Troy Branham of Golden Gate Mortgage says go Gamecocks.
New year, better floors. Now is the time. Refinish your hardwood floors with Recoat Revolution. Beautiful like new floors in just one day. No dust, affordable, and 5 stars. Give us a call in South Carolina, 803-397-1365. Or visit us at recoatrevolution.com. Go Gamecocks!
Jeffrey's got space and a touchdown. Can you believe it? Touchdown! He caught it in traffic. Scores! South Carolina!
You're tuned into Inside the Gamecock, the morning show, part of the Chief Sports Network, proudly presented by the West Law Firm, and brought to you in partnership with Resto Pros of the Midlands. Go Gamecocks!
It's now time to take a drive around the SEC, presented by JT's Kia across South Carolina, the home of JT's Advantage Package, featuring tire rotations, oil changes, and more. Make your next road trip in an ever-reliable JT's Kia, and don't forget to check our used inventory as well. Let's drive.
You'll be driving us everywhere, Michael. Hello, JC.
Hello. How are y'all?
Good. I see. I feel already guilty about cutting into JC's introduction time.
No. I've got plenty of time, Mike.
All right. Are you going to be interactive on this? I have no dollar figures of any kind. Not even ones produced by On3.
I forgot. Maybe you had an ulterior motive in saying that. I don't want JC on while I'm doing this.
No. But whenever I mention NIL money,
any kind of money thing drives me nuts.
Yes, and I did see your boy put one out. The top
Pete, On3 actually switched to another model with that. It's actually based on it's verified. So.
You know what's surprising about that? Maybe it's not surprising to you. You're knee deep into that more so than most, but I think of the top 10, 6 of them were basketball players.
Oh yeah, I've been saying for a while, basketball's not even a revenue sport anymore, but like at Kansas and Kentucky and North Carolina. I mean, seriously, the dollars don't add up with what they're paying for roster.
But they're all shelling it out, and then like the SEC, the average is 12 to 15. It's crazy.
Yeah. Like Carolina's at 16.
That's just
and
there's gonna be a lot of thoughts on that this year. We're only in July, but there's going to be a lot of thoughts on that.
Yeah.
And I already know you've got 2 barrels loaded Voted for Bayer.
We'll just see how it goes. I'm just glad that we're in this now with SEC media days. We are now in 26, 27. We can just put last year to bed. Just all the
Correct.
whole thing, the whole kit and caboodle. So
Yes.
I'm just very happy to be here.
Yes. Well, and as I mentioned, like clearly the people forecasting Carolina have, because you won't find many teams coming off 4-8 that are projected in the 20s preseason top 25, which is where most people have Carolina. Pretty impressive when you think about that. That doesn't happen to 4-8 teams like ever. So there is a wave of positivity somewhere.
If they didn't return Lenora Sellers, that would not be the case. He is the driver of that.
Yeah, if they didn't return Dylan Stewart, that you could probably take off a couple of spots. And even Nick Harbor, like there's a lot of people that think Nick Harbor is going to just morph into this guy that competes for the Fred Biletnikoff, that type of talent.
Yeah, I agree, but I think I remember I don't know who it was. I feel like it was Beamer, but it might have been Spurrier. One of those guys said, a lot of these guys, okay, did they return a quarterback? Yeah. Is he any good? Yeah. All right, put him up there.
100%. And people filling out those ballots, they who they're familiar with at quarterback goes a long way. I mean, we sit here in 2026, guys. We could be doing this show 10 years from now. You know, we take our little Jetsons pod and we fly to the studio or whatever we do. And you could still not have a Gamecock quarterback that's a 3-year starter within the program. That just doesn't happen many places anymore. The norm is not that. It is a complete outlier. So people look at that too, and they say, well, last year, mitigating circumstances. I remember that Clemson game. Boy, those were some great runs. I remember that LSU game. He looked awfully good before they lost in the fourth. And so, yeah, I mean, there is that. But we'll get into quarterback rankings in a second. I want to start off with one baseball note since I promised it. And Jamie mentioned a recruiting nugget. This is the top 10 portal rankings from On3's Pete Nakos. What kind of guy is Pete Nakos, JC? Is he good people?
He's just a facts guy. Facts. Pete spits facts.
Spits facts.
Sources. Just rocks it. He's not very opinionated at all. That's why I like him. Most On3's kind of designed that way. I mean, you do have Andy Staples that'll editorialize. He's kind of our guy that does that. And then Chris Lowe is more a facts reporter guy. McMurphy is all facts, or he should be. So On3's that's kind of the idea behind the national team at On3. Just get reporters, man.
Yeah.
Just spit facts. So, yeah.
And then McMurphy can take his weekly digs at the SEC just for giggles.
Yeah, he just does that on X, you know.
He can't help himself.
But hey, you trade off because he breaks every bowl matchup.
He's always been great with information.
All outstanding. The best there is. One of the best
always been great with info, no doubt. All right, so of the 10 schools that are top 10 in college baseball in the portal, 9 of them are from the SEC. Number 10, Kentucky. Jamie's favorite coach, Tony Mingione and company. Number 9, Texas. Number 8, the lone non-SEC team, Miami. Vanderbilt. Boy, are things changing with Tim Corbin and Vanderbilt. He went portal heavy. They're 7. Mississippi State is 6. Arkansas 5. Georgia 4. Just coming off Omaha. Tennessee 3. Carolina is 2. And LSU, just when you think, oh, this is only for teams that are desperate to rebuild, LSU number 1 in the portal, even after their coach dogged his last portal class. Jamie, your thoughts?
Well, South Carolina's is helped by numbers and talent. And contrary to last year, this year, more of the impact players are position players. Not saying that the pitchers aren't. It's not what I'm saying. But last year, Carolina found more guys. That was kind of the philosophy. I mean, the guy that was in charge of it, that's what he wanted to do. So that's what he did. This year, they made it a point to go find guys who could, do the other things like hit.
That's always a beneficial part of the game I have found over the years.
LSU signed probably their class is not big, but it's elite.
They got some studs.
Yeah, it's elite. So but Carolina's, I think, for the most part, they have hit their kind of what do we need. But if you go to 64 analytics, 11 of the top 12 are out of the SEC. So for Gamecock fans, I'm not saying they're not going to be good. I do think that they will get things turned around. Everybody in this league has acquired more talent, and if they don't run out there and go 40-16, if it's 32 or 33 wins or something like that, look around.
You sound a lot like me right now, thinking outside the bubble. You're only as good as your peers, how you contrast with them. It's a loaded league.
Yeah.
So you're right. You could be 2 in the portal. Last year, they were top 5 in the portal.
Mm-hmm.
We know what that turned into. Okay. Turning to football. Going to be football heavy. Permission to talk college football here on July the 21st? Permission granted? 3 nods. I like it. Nonverbal communication, very big on radio. All right. These are just some interesting stats that I found on. Remember yesterday, Jamie, I was talking about the playoff era. That's kind of like the new index for a lot of folks in college football. We used to have like pre-World War II era. Then we had the BCS era. 20 years of that mess. Then we had the playoff era, which began in 2014. So we have the playoff era, and then we have the 4-team playoff era. The 4-team playoff era. How many SEC teams do you think have made the playoff in the 2 years that we've had 12? Closest to the pin?
Yeah, JC.
Not everybody at once.
Like different teams?
Different teams. Yeah,
like
different programs.
Schools, so
Correct.
Shoot, man. I think that number is 6.
Jamie? 8. Mustache? 5. You all were right around the hole. 7. 7. Georgia, Texas, Oklahoma, Ole Miss, Alabama, Tennessee, A&M.
Oh, I thought I did my math wrong. Pooh.
So when somebody tells you the SEC, I mean, they're not what the Big Ten is. Well, look, the Big Ten has every right to brag. 3 titles in 3 years, 3 different teams. But the Big Ten, conversely, how many different programs have gone to the 12-team playoff?
4? 3, dude.
3, dude.
Yeah.
Ohio State, Oregon, and Indiana.
Oh, no, 4. Penn State. Remember? Penn State made it first year.
Yeah.
The first year they made it the 12 team. They did under Franklin.
Yeah.
Yep. Correction.
Well, they got to play SMU and Boise State. Nobody watched 6 damn games.
Yeah, that's right. I forgot.
They lost to Notre Dame. So.
And Oregon did make it, right? I'm not crazy on that.
Yeah, Oregon's made it twice.
Yeah.
2 years in a row.
Oregon and Ohio State both have made it twice. And Indiana. All 3 of those teams have made it twice.
That's right.
And only one SEC team has made it twice.
Georgia Bulldogs.
That'd be the Georgia Bulldogs. They have been the staple for so many things. Here's another one. Going back to, we're 12 years into the playoff era period. Going back to when it was 2014. How many playoffs do you think LSU has made in those 12 years?
1.
Uno.
1.
Mad Dog.
Yep. 19. That's it.
That's it.
What a season.
That's it. So, look, Brian Kelly is going to be a piñata all year long. Lane is going to do Lane things, and it'll be like, thank God we get rid of Brian Kelly. But truth be told, LSU wasn't lighting it on fire after 2019, and they weren't lighting it on fire pre-2019. That was Ed Orgeron's, just everything went right, and you had one of the best teams in the history of the sport. Not necessarily due to Ed Orgeron's incredible strategy and coaching acumen.
Well, this is why I agree with the very bold that I think was taken incorrectly by way too many people statement by Jordan Rodgers yesterday. He said if LSU
Yeah.
doesn't play in a national championship, that they've missed the mark, and he's right. And the reason that he's right is he referenced the money. He said, "Look, they put in over $100 million.
Over $100 million.
You know, when you talk about firing Brian Kelly, you know, people are going, well, that's a little lofty, don't you think? Playoffs, I can understand national. No, that's why they hired Lane Kiffin. He's not saying fire him if they don't get there, or that they are, you know, that they underachieved or anything like that. He is what Jordan was. I get what he's saying. He's right about it.
And he had a chance to back out of that. He doubled down this morning.
Yeah.
Because he said that on First Take, which is kind of like, hey, let's just say something outrageous and see if we get clicks. He stood with it today. He's like, what are you spending over $100 million for if you're not in the national championship game? Was his
Right.
point.
Yeah. You go ahead, JC. Sorry.
No. I was a good point. LSU is an interesting program. I mean, there's two programs in the whole sport that have won national championships with three different head coaches in the BCS playoff era. LSU is one of them. Ohio State's another. LSU's set up to, but you kind of look. Even Nick Saban, check this out, man. 8-4, 10-3, 8-5, 13-1, won it all. Last year of his tenure, 9-4. They lost the Capital One Bowl to Iowa. You know, Les Miles got the Saban bump, but then he went 8-5, 9-4. Oop, back up 11-2, 13-1. Oh, 10-3, 10-3, 8-5, 10-3, 8-4. Coach O went from 15-0 to 5-5 pandemic year, then 6-7. Brian Kelly 10-4, 10-3, 9-4. They're a lot like, arguably year to year, with the exception of these great teams they've had. They're a lot like Mark Richt's Georgia. Mark Richt's Georgia actually was a little more consistent through those three coaches. So I don't know why that is. If I coached at LSU, I'd win national championships. I mean, you know, we've proven that people that aren't great can do it. I mean, I don't understand it with the amount of talent you have down there at home field, you know.
One guy ate grass and the other one swam with alligators in swamps.
And look, dude, I'll say this. That just shows you can have three great teams and everybody just says you're a power, even though maybe your other years are not as good. So
yeah.
Well, they become.
Don't forget, LSU was a non-factor in the 80s and most of the 90s.
Yeah.
Like you go back to like Curly Hallman, you go back to Jerry DiNardo. People weren't afraid to play in Death Valley those years.
Gosh, no, Mike Archer, Bill Arnsberger.
Mike Archer
for a minute. I mean, it just, you know, you had to go back to Charlie McClendon, but even Charlie McClendon never won more than 9 games, and he was the coach there for 20 years.
Yeah.
Paul Dietzel won a championship there in 58, and that was really the heyday. So Billy Cannon, that era. So I don't know what it is down there on the bayou, but it's glory and mediocrity.
What was the nickname of their defense that year in 58? The Chinese
Bandits. That's
I don't
why
think that would go over well this year.
Probably not, but their bands, well, their band doesn't care.
The Asian American Bandits.
Yeah, they still play that dun 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 dun. That's what that is. Chinese Bandits.
Oh, is that right? I didn't know that.
Yeah. Well, you can't really, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why did you choose that music to play?
Yeah.
Well,
you know. All right. JC, you're going to love the next couple of things. This is from, again, our guy at Pick Six Previews. First off, recruiting rankings, 5-year average. This is actually via 24/7 Sports. The usual suspects at the top. Number 1, Bama. Number 2, Georgia. Number 3, Texas. Ohio State, Oregon, Notre Dame, LSU, Miami, Oklahoma, A&M. Then 11, Tennessee. Michigan, Florida, Clemson, Florida State, Auburn, 17, South Carolina. I think some people would be surprised at that, no?
That's about right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they're usually around 17, 18. And then what's interesting about Carolina is, this is more of an off-season topic, but they're top 25 in NFL players.
I'm getting to that in a second, and I'm gonna build on your point that you made about Spurrier yesterday, because it applies even today with Carolina. That's a tease within a tease. Indiana, by the way, you want to guess where they are in recruiting rankings over the last 5 years?
like 40th.
42. That's what
You're both very close. 45.
Yeah, I knew it was somewhere in
45. Now, obviously, you get 2 portal quarterbacks, and that changes the equation. I do get a kick. Like, people need to stop using this because it's not correct. Mark Cuban is not the sugar daddy you think he is for Indiana football, and he's not the reason why Indiana just won a national championship. I've heard that 100 times, and I'm like, do you follow college football? Do you follow recruit? Like, that's not the case.
Oh, dude, I hear it all the time. That's one of those things that drives me nuts because they spent about $17 million on that roster. Okay?
Right.
Really probably could have had it cheaper because 18 of those guys came from James Madison.
Including 5 starters.
Yeah, I mean,
5 of those kids that started last year were JMU transfers.
Nobody was beating down their door. I mean, they got some guys this year like the Marsh kid from Michigan State. And Hoover was a pretty popular transfer portal quarterback. They got Turbo Richard from Rock Hill, South Carolina, Jamie, from Northwestern. That was at Boston College. But on paper, it was a little bit better portal class. But I mean, I don't know. I mean, I watched Indiana a bunch last year, and they weren't like untalented. The team they played that gave them trouble from a talent standpoint is, oh, by the way, the team that spends more money than Jehovah, and that's Miami. They spent on that Mario Crystal.
They got sugar daddies.
He just throws it out there like Scrooge McDuck.
Yeah.
At the end of Mickey's Christmas Carol, just throwing gold bags. But
Mark Cuban is more of a tight ass than people think he is. If you watch Shark Tank, you know just how cheap Mark Cuban could be.
And he supports Indy. And I read where he was going to help basketball there because it's just been kind of floundering. But no, Cuban didn't step. I mean, I'm sure he contributes, but man, and Indiana does have money like the rest of the Big Ten. And I mean, look at their crowd that showed up. I mean, they in Miami way outnumbered in their own stadium. They have huge alums. All the Big Ten schools do. So that equals money. But people that think they went out and bought a team.
Yeah, I mean, that's not it at all.
If they did pay those guys well, I mean, they wasted some money because they could have had them cheaper.
Miami bought a team and almost won it.
Oh, yeah.
And Ohio State a couple of years ago, when they won it, they bought a team.
Yes.
Indiana did not buy a national title team. They just didn't. Like, I've heard that now 1,000 times, and it's just inaccurate, and I wish somebody would correct it. But
in fact,
by the way, you're telling me, JC, Carolina could have had a nitro and a turbo on their starting lineup?
I don't know the turbo one started in Carolina, but
okay.
Could have had a turbo, yeah.
Could have had a turbo.
It would have been cool.
Maybe.
That's a poster. I mean, that makes it, that markets itself.
Ironically, Mike, you know where Nitro Tuckle is from?
Purdue.
He's from,
you mean what?
Hometown?
Hometown? No, I don't know hometown.
Right near South Bend, Indiana.
Is that right?
So there you go.
How about that? So this is a number I think you'll appreciate. Now, don't ask me exactly how Ciancia, a Pick Six Previews, gets this together. But he breaks it down into 2 categories: win conversion and player development. What is player development? Recruiting ranking versus NFL draft picks. So if a program signs a bunch of 2-stars and ends up high in NFL draft pick lists, you know they are developing their players above expectations. Similarly, if a program signs a bunch of 5-stars and is relatively low, it'll appear that they're not developing and maximizing player potential. I realize this is not an exact science, but number 1, your boy, Bielema, Illinois. Texas Tech, Kansas State, not surprising. Pitt, Arizona, Louisville, TCU, Boston College. Southern Cal, Iowa, Washington. Number 12, South Carolina. Because a lot of the guys, I mean, obviously Dylan Stewart, 5-star, but a lot of the guys that have made it, this is part of your point yesterday, JC, are guys that were not 4 or 5 stars that turned into really good players. Correct?
And there's a correlation there between kids from the state, the in-state talent being underrated, going to South Carolina and going well. I mean, I'm looking back through the draft here, and let's see. So you got, Nick Barrett was from North Carolina, but he was a 3-star guy. Cisse was a 2-star guy. Tonka was a low 4. TJ Sanders is a 3-star guy, basketball player. Even Warrior was a 3-star. Marcellus Dowell was a no-star. He's a JUCO guy from Woodruff. Leggett, high 3, low 4. Darius Rush, no-star. Pickens and Smith were highly rated. I mean, it goes on and on. Izzy McWilliams was a 3-star. I mean, within the Deebo Samuel, 3-star guy. I mean, you go back through time, and South Carolina kids tend to outperform their ranking as a state, no matter where they go. So,
yeah, no, it's an impressive number to say the least. Some hard news, and then an overarching thought here. How about this for last year? How wild and kooky it was. It wasn't just Indiana winning a national championship, Vanderbilt almost making a playoff. The great G5 stories. Right within our own conference, Georgia, as good as Georgia was, keep this in mind, they could not run the ball and they did not rush the passer. Very anti-Georgia sentiments. But they were not able to run for whatever reasons, and they were not good. They didn't have a Dylan Stewart type of hellraiser off the edge compared to normal Georgia teams. Texas couldn't block anybody most of the year. I mean, Arch Manning, say what you will about him, and we'll get to him in a moment. That O-line for much of the year was pretty trashy. So they couldn't block and they couldn't run. Carolina gets a transfer at running back. The numbers aren't gaudy, and he was behind some other cats, but for the most part, Texas did not block and did not run last year. So Georgia couldn't run, Texas couldn't block or run, Tennessee couldn't defend, Alabama couldn't run. That's right, Alabama could not run the football, and Florida couldn't do anything. So it was a little bit of a anti-norm type of year, right? So on the subject of Tennessee being so bad defensively, they bring in Jim Knowles. Tennessee gave up 29 points a year last year. That was tied for 92nd nationally and 14th in the SEC. When Heupel first got there in 2021, they were 7th in the country on defense, 16 points a game. 16 points a game. Will Jim Knowles make a big difference? We shall see. The other story yesterday out of Missouri, everybody wanting to know the status of Ahmad Hardy. They don't know exactly when he is going to return. But what they do know is that, he was released from the hospital back in May. He's been doing rehab. It sounds like, unless they're all blowing smoke here, that he's going to be ready. It might not be week 1, but he is going to be ready, which is bad news for defenses because he was a badass last year. If you watched Ahmad Hardy run, it's more than the 1,649 yards and 16 touchdowns. Every run, he just ran like he was angry at the world. Max effort on every run, which is what you want to see. Yeah, it was a random act of violence. John Mateer's hand strength is back. Good grip. Okay, rushing me out of here. Phil, put up. What we got a guest coming up. We got Cloninger.
Or I wouldn't be playing you off.
I'm sorry. How long are we keeping Cloninger? Are we going?
We got to get him out so he can get over to media days.
All right, get him in, and then we'll do the quarterback rankings after that.
All right, David Cloninger next from Tampa.
If you own a home, don't wait on these home safety tips. Flush your water heater, clean your dryer vent, and inspect your roof annually. Don't forget to check washer hoses and caulk in wet areas. Visit RestoProsMidlandsSC.com.
Now is the time. Finish your hardwood floors with Recoat Revolution. Beautiful like new floors in just one day. Hardwood, vinyl, laminate, concrete, tile floors. Any floor. We can do it. No dust, affordable, and 5 stars. Give us a call in South Carolina, 803-397-1365. Or visit us at recoatrevolution.com. Go Gamecocks.
Do you carry? Carry responsibly with us. What could you lose from a self-defense act? Visit protectwithbear.com to find out more. Protectwithbear.com.
Troy Branham of Golden Gate Mortgage can help you save big today anywhere in South Carolina. Over 27 years experience. Visit ggmortgage.com. Troy Branham of Golden Gate Mortgage says go Gamecocks.
Dry Space Crawl Space Solutions are your local home protection experts. Crawl space encapsulation, sump pump and drain installs, humidity control, duct cleaning, basement waterproofing, concrete leveling, and French drains. We do it all. Visit dryspacecs.com. dryspacecs.com. Go Gamecocks.
If you have experienced water damage, storm damage, fire or smoke damage, or need mold remediation, you need Resto Pros of the Midlands. Visit RestoProsMidlandsSC.com and go Gamecocks.
Join us every week for SEC Sunday Night on the Chief Sports Network.
Subscribe to fourquarterfriday.com for just $1. High school sports coverage in South Carolina. Part of Rivals and on 3. You're tuned into Inside the Gamecocks, presented by the West Law Firm and Resto Pros of the Midlands. Part of the Chief Sports Network. Go Gamecocks.
All right, 11:32. We are back. Welcome back inside the Gamecocks, the morning show. Our Carolina football coverage presented by Palm Casual, the best outdoor furniture you can find. And seated comfortably is our long-lost friend, the great David Cloninger from the Post and Courier down in Tampa, Florida. What's up, brother?
Uh-oh.
Can you hear us? Can you hear us?
Can you hear us, buddy?
DC, can you hear us? Can you hear us? Uh-oh.
Yeah, you're not coming through, guys.
Uh-oh.
Oh, we can hear you.
We can hear you fine.
Yeah, there you go.
There you are.
There we go. All right,
Just had to
sweet.
move the computer.
What'd you do? Tap your computer? It's like the Armageddon, that movie where they just beats the crap out of the spaceship. And there you go. It works.
It's the old, just take a hammer to it, son. It'll work. How are you? Everybody good?
Can't complain, guys. How you doing?
Good. Yeah, we're good, man. We're good. What's the scene? What's the vibe like down there? Can you hear us now?
Guys, it's media days. I mean, everybody's walking around with, the questions that they got to ask, but there's nothing, huge breaking news coming out here. I think it was, 5 years ago now that the news broke that Oklahoma and Texas were joining the league, and that was the big news story. But otherwise, it's been pretty chill so far. The funniest thing was Kirby Smart was asked if Lane Kiffin's kind of a troll. And Kirby said, I don't know what that is. So when somebody explained what that is, he said, oh, yeah, that's it. That's Lane Kiffin for sure.
Compared to other media day settings, Atlanta, Birmingham, Nashville, how is Tampa holding up here?
I mean, guys, it's Tampa. It's nice. It's a beach town. Obviously the scenery is very nice around here. It's pleasant weather when it's not scalding hot. It's another one of these in the vein of Nashville, Atlanta, Dallas. I'm not really sure why this has become kind of the traveling circus. Atlanta's fine. Birmingham's fine. In my opinion, this event should never be held anywhere but Atlanta or Birmingham. But I understand they want to spread it around, maybe give the love to some of the other states in the SEC footprint. But I don't really see the need of I've got to take a 14-hour round trip to get to 1 day of media days. But it's nice. I mean, they do treat us nice once we get here.
Next year, it'll be back in Nashville, Tennessee. Commissioner Greg Sankey announced that yesterday. All right, Shane Beamer will speak today at 2:55 on the main stage. I don't know if you'll get the first question down there like you generally do up here, but what is your media day's burning question for the head coach of the Gamecocks?
Well, guys, I think it's probably the same question we've really been asking him since the season ended in November. How's the health of Dylan Stewart? And then, as it became known in spring, how's the health of Jakarius Peak? So it's not so much how they are right now, but as we get closer to practice in the games, it's one: are they going to be able to play in those games, perhaps season opener? And even if not, is it one thing like let's just say they're 100% for the Kent State game? Is there any discussion about maybe just holding them back, limiting them until they kind of get their feet wet and kind of get back into the flow of things? So that would probably be the first thing on my mind, because I don't know if you guys read it about 6 weeks ago. I put it in the Post and Courier, sat down for my usual summer press conference with Shane, said, let's just get it out of the way, man. Hot seat. You're going to be asked about it. I'm asking about it now. And, of course, he explained that answer very well when I was with him in his office. So, he's going to be asked about that again, maybe in the media gaggle, maybe on the podium, but he's going to answer it well and just proceed with the season.
Do you think that he is the coach with the most pressure on him to win, or you're out in the league this year?
I'd say it's pretty difficult to say, Jamie. I mean, obviously you don't want to have 2 bad years in a row, but there are some other factors, it being South Carolina, to where maybe they don't expect you to win as much as, say, another school. I mean, if Kalen DeBoer has a real bad year, I think that could be it, but I don't think many people expect that. You look at John Sumrall at Florida, and say first year coming into that pressure cooker, what do you got to do, even though it's your first year? And then, of course, let's just talk about it. Lane Kiffin, they spent a lot of money and went through a lot of scrutiny to bring him in there, so they didn't do that for him to go 6-6. I don't know if it would be accurate to say Shane's on the hottest seat, but it's definitely warm where that is, and he needs to have a really good season.
I would throw Josh Heupel into that mix, and not because I believe that Josh Heupel should be on any sort of hot seat. I don't think that he should be, but I do believe that Tennessee fans look at this and they say, look, man, we should be in the college football playoff. This thing is expanded. That's part of our DNA, although it's really not part of their DNA, but they think that it's part of their DNA, and that's not firing a shot at the Vols. That's just where they are. And I can understand that. So if Josh Heupel rolls out a 7-win year, which is possible, or an 8-win year, you wonder if Tennessee decides, well, that's just not good enough for us here anymore, and we're going to go look somewhere else. There's always one of these things that you just don't see coming that ends up coming, and you just wonder if Josh Heupel is one of those dudes this go around.
Sure. I mean, last year, I think Brent Venables probably came in with the hottest seat in the league, if not one for Billy Napier or Sam Pittman, and said, boy, I just don't know if this is going to work. He's given up defensive play calling again. He's got a kind of a little bit of a quarterback question. Well, Oklahoma won 10 games. Got to host a playoff game, so they answered that call. So there always is going to be something that you don't expect, and maybe that this year is going to be, well, it's South Carolina, you like Shane, but if they ask another bad year, do they make a move? Maybe this is the year like 2 years ago. They come in, nobody's expecting them to do anything, and they win 9 games. Who knows? But this is the time to talk about all that and kind of get it all out there and say, we've talked about everything possible there's to talk about. Here's week 1 depth chart, and here's the first game.
David Cloninger, Post and Courier. He is in Tampa, Florida. Shane Beamer will meet with the media in 3 hours and 15 minutes on the grand stage. He'll also sit down with the SEC Nation crew and Paul Feinbaum in the 4 o'clock hour this afternoon. DC, I'm gonna bring the annual J.C. Sherbert special teams conversation into play here. He usually falls apart right around this time, and it lasts until right around kickoff. There's the chance that there could be a lot of close games for South Carolina going one way or going another. The kicking has been okay. Punting has been pretty good, and everything else has really been pretty good around here. But it's just been okay. There seem to be 4 guys who are in the mix this year to kick the football for the University of South Carolina. How high on the list is that question for Shane Beamer? If you had to play next weekend, who would be the first guy you send out there to kick field goals?
That's a great question, Jamie. It's actually one I've got on my list because Malik Orson has now entered the chat. I believe he committed the night that Shane was in Charleston to do his Gamecock Club tour stop. And I was like, oh, well, you got a new thing. And that's when I started thinking he was never really definitive and always said, I wish there'd been a little more separation between Upton Bellenfant and Max Kelly in the spring. So now you've got another guy who was rated the number 1 transfer kicker by one service, but yet he hasn't kicked in college. So my question for Shane will be on this, like, if it's a quarterback, you probably want to have a decision 2 weeks before the season starts, right? You want to be able to have that. Well, this is a kicker. So how long does the competition go? You give it the full 4 weeks of August? Is it one thing where you decide in the warm-up on Thursday night before the kids' state game? And that is going to be a question because, like, you got to have that one. And really, when you look at all 3 of the candidates, there's only one guy that's kicked in college, but none of them have done it here. So it will be that question of how do you decide this going forward? Is there something special that you kind of have to do to make that decision a little more easier in this next month of August?
I know Mason Love has been the punter for Shane Beamer. We actually had a chance last year to speak with Mason here on this program. Great kid. David, I asked Shane back in April, what is your theory? A guy who punts and kicks field goals, or a guy who kicks field goals and kicks off, do you like, or are you cool with a guy to handle more than one duty on special teams? And he said, we'd rather not, but it's certainly something that we would consider if that is our best option. Have you heard anything about Mason Love and where he would stand in the pecking order to kick field goals? Nope. Did we lose him? Can you hear us, DC? Oh, we might have lost him there, JC.
Yeah, Phil's probably right. If we got a message from Phil, he thinks the internet's stressed down there a little bit. We're in a delay.
Yeah, because you got to think he's sitting in a chair in the middle of a lobby with Wi-Fi.
I can answer that.
Using,
I can answer it.
Did he jump off, or are you monitoring?
Probably, yeah.
But yeah, he jumped off. Yeah, he's not there. I'll keep us updated here.
Yeah, he's good. Yeah, I don't. It's about
we can
that
get
time,
it back.
I think.
Yeah.
But look, so I've evolved in this kicker conversation.
This whole
it is a little early.
Well, I looked back and I'm like, there's no reason why Upton Bellenfant isn't the guy. I didn't realize, I guess I just didn't dig. I knew he had played for Pete Limbo at Buffalo, but the guy was 18 of 21 on field goals, 31 of 31 on PATs in 2024, 10 for 11 inside of 39 yards, 8 for 10 between 40 and 49. And you guys remember Northern Illinois beat Notre Dame in 2024?
Mm-hmm.
We had a walk-off winning kick from 39 yards in overtime to beat them. That was a huge win for Pistol Pete at the time. I mean, he's 6 for 7 as the backup at Texas Tech last year. I think Beamer's probably right. There should be a little bit more separation between the two. And Malik Orson is a big kicker. He's like Ryan Suckup size, 6'2", 215, big guy.
Oh, is he really that big?
Yeah, he's a big kid. And according to the roster. So, I mean, I don't know, man. I mean, I would, my guess is maybe Bellenfant just comes back and I mean, because what I've heard is he's very inconsistent, and maybe he finds that consistency again, because it's like golfing or like putting or sometimes in baseball you lose it, Jamie. You got to find it. So,
yeah, I think look. If you asked me what is the biggest concern, the offensive line will just continue to be until it's not. And I think that should probably be fairly universal. but the kicking game is up there. I think about, there are multiple games in the last couple of years. Well, if you go just look at the numbers from a 10,000-foot view, you go, well, shoot, man, they made, 14 out of, 17 or 13 out of 16 or whatever it is. That looks pretty good. But go look at the numbers over 40. That ain't good. And, Carolina had such a special run of guys who just kind of nailed those things. It really began to fade off when what's his name transferred up to Notre Dame.
Mitch Jeter.
And
then
kind of
fell apart at Notre Dame because he had an injury.
Yeah. I don't look at this. I mean, other than 2 games, I don't look at the South Carolina schedule and think that any of those games couldn't ultimately be 1-score games. And I'm not saying that they should be, but I'm saying that Carolina's got 10 games on their schedule that can be. And if that's the case, you're going to have somebody who's reliable. And, and that will impact decisions positively. Y'all remember the Alabama game last year? You think about that. Remember, Carolina had like a 43-yard field goal attempt. They decided to go for it. They didn't get it. Now, would that have ultimately ended up helping them, win the game? Would they have called plays differently at the end as opposed to the fumble that happened to Sellers and then Alabama trots in to win? I don't know. Maybe they would have. Maybe they wouldn't have. But it would have been 3 more points than they had, and there are certainly other candidates we can look back on the last couple of years. So I just think that, Coach Smiley's going to have, there's going to be a lot of work once they get cranked up with camp to get this thing right. And I guess we'll see what it looks like in September.
Okay, what's the background?
That's Days of Our Lives.
Stefano Demiro.
Oh, yeah. Marlena.
Days of Our Lives. Anyways, well, hey, we lost DC. How about
coming through from Mike again?
Let me read you a text he sent me, by the way. I didn't see it. I guess he can't go. I knew he was going. He just offered me 2 tickets for, I'm not going to give you the number, but a very low price. Guns N' Roses on Thursday night in Raleigh. Should I skip the show on Friday and go to Guns N' Roses in Raleigh on Thursday night?
I'm going in on next Wednesday here.
So we can't count on you next Thursday. That's what you're saying.
Yeah, we were preordained.
I've never been to Guns N' Roses. I feel like that's a once in a lifetime you got to do it thing.
Well, now that they're back together, and I went in 16. Actually, David was there. I ran into him. He and I are kindred spirits as far as being a GNR fan. And Slash and Duff and Axl too. They're not doing drugs like they did back in the 90s, right? And you have to understand, Slash, they're like world-class musicians, right? And so the quality of like Slash playing guitar now that he's completely sober and works out 5 times a week is unbelievable. Like they jam. I mean, musically they jam. Axl's voice is a little different now. He blew it out, giving us a show in the 90s, but it's a good time. I'm looking forward to going. All right, what is that in the background, or is that me?
That might be me. Hold on a second.
There's some kind of like TV going. I'm not trying to complain. I was worried Cloninger was still like with us.
No, DC's
sound like the same din.
Yeah, it sounded like lobby noise. I was just worried that maybe we didn't disconnect with him.
Easy on to other things. It's all good. Yeah,
I blame Cloninger.
Did you just pull an Ed Orgeron? I'm trying to give a press conference here.
Yeah, I'm doing my homo commercial.
Yeah, dude, it's crazy.
Yo.
Anyway.
All right. Does it sound like I'm not in a well? Everything's good, right?
You sound like Mike Morgan now.
Okay. Yeah. Yesterday we did 2 full hours of the laptop microphone while talking into an actual microphone. So it sounded like crap, but that's okay.
Was that what it was?
That's exactly what it was.
It sounds like, but it's hard on your type of computer. Sometimes it just turns the mic off for no reason.
Sometimes it just happens. And we all hear it okay, but when I went back and listened to some of it, I was like, holy cow, this sounds, this is one thing I'm pretty anal about is audio.
The golden tones have to sound golden, brother.
Well, I mean, I this is a high level production. I just want everything to sound good, and we went 2 hours of just sounding like I'm in a well.
Done that before and been embarrassed. Like just not like my mic, like the computer mic sounds different.
Well, I think for some reason during the time away, the settings on my computer or on StreamYard or on Shure microphone and something changed. And so that screwed up everything. But we figured it out. And so I guess everybody heard stuff yesterday. So that's a good sign. So obviously Cloninger did not work. So we do have time perhaps to get into the remainder of the JT's Kia drive around the SEC, a little quarterback rankings talk.
Sure.
Maybe.
We can talk some quarterbacks here. We'll set the tone.
Oh, yeah, bring the music back.
Yeah.
Bring the. So this is from Jordan Rogers, Chris Doering, and
I have them individually.
Aaron Murray. Oh, you have individual. That's fine. Okay, we'll do one by one. So I know all these guys, but it's not just that I know them. I think they all do a good job. But you can go in a million different places, get a million different rankings. This is Jordan's top 5. Trinidad 1, popular pick. Arch Manning 2. Right before I had to cut off, I was talking about John Mateer has his grip back. The John Mateer of the second half of the season was basically playing with a deformed right hand and looked it. Was not the same player. But people will remember, before the injury, he was as good as any quarterback in the country. Sam Levitt 4, that's a leap for a lot of people. A lot of people don't have Sam that high. And Gunnar Stockton 5. Gunnar Stockton is off a lot of these lists in the top 5. Okay, so that's Jordan Rogers. Next.
Oh,
survey.
I don't care either one. Who have I got here?
Take your
Aaron
pick.
Murray. Let's look.
Aaron
at
Murray.
Quarterback.
Fine Georgia quarterback, all-time leading passer. Threw for about 12,000 more yards than Buck Bellew. Aaron Murray, top 5. Number 1, Chambliss. Number 2, Manning. Seeing a pattern here. He's got Stockton 3. Levitt 4, Mateer 5. So those are basically the same 5 guys, if I'm not mistaken.
It is. Yeah, just different order.
Okay. Let's see if we have any variance with Doering. Oh, a lot of... Okay. Doring's got Chambliss 1, Mateer 2, Manning 3, Byron Brown 4, and Marcel Reed 5. That deserves a wow.
Yeah, I just don't know that there. I love Chris Doering and I love his work. I'm not so sure I can look at a group of 5 quarterbacks, the top 5 in the league, one man's opinion.
Yeah,
and see Marcel Reed in there without Lenore Sellers. I mean, I look, man. I mean, I know that Lenoris certainly had his issues that were related to play callers. He had his own issues that he, things that he should have been better at, et cetera, et cetera. I have also watched Marcel Reed perform at an extremely high level. And then when there's any sort of pressure in the area, he looks like he's never played the game of football before. So I just think that, there's a lot of problems there for him to be that high on that list.
He did mention Sellers. Here's the way I would look at this, because I know a lot of people are going to look at this and say, Lenoris got screwed. You just wait. Well, exactly. This is your chance to prove everybody wrong.
Yeah.
You're not forgotten, because people still, when they say South Carolina, they immediately say Lenoris Sellers.
No doubt.
This is a much stronger year at quarterback than was last year, not just in the league, but nationally speaking. So again, you got a chance to prove everybody wrong. Maybe peak Lenoris is right there at the top. We'll see. But I thought it was interesting. The one common ground, Phil, can you go back to one of the other 2 guys?
Yeah, let's see.
Because this is on almost everybody's list. In no particular order. Chambliss, Manning, Stockton, Levitt, Mateer. That's as close to I've seen as a consensus. Let's see. Ciancia, pick 6. He's got Lenoris 6. Yeah, there's a lot of people that if we extended this list to top 8, Lenoris is right there at 6 or 7. But again, it means nothing. Remember last year. Remember all the hype on guys like DJ Lagway and Lenoris Sellers and
Derek Nussbaum.
Arch. What's that?
Garrett Nussmeier.
Garrett Nussmeier. Oh my goodness.
That was the big one.
That was the biggest one. And at the end of the year, none of those guys were at the top. It was a guy we never heard of in Chambliss. Gunnar Stockton was clutch as can be, even though they don't pass a lot in that offense. And Arch came on late. Who am I forgetting? It was another good one last year in the league. I mean, even Joey Aguilar of Tennessee played pretty good football. Certainly better than I expected.
I mean, Diego Pavia was
a Heisman Trophy finalist, and I don't know if many people had him on their preseason top 3, maybe top 5, but not 3. So it means nothing, but that's what you're looking at right now with a lot of the prognostications.
Yeah.
All right. No.
Out of that list, I'm trying to think of if I had to, like, Lenore Sellers wasn't at South Carolina, or let's say, it's the NFL rules. You're going to trade. You get one trade here.
Mm-hmm.
You're trading a quarterback for a quarterback of that list, who I'd probably say I want Arch Manning, to be honest with you. But I think Arch Manning's in line for a big year. He's just.
Oh, I do too. And they got him a lot of help. And I'm also.
He finished very well last season too.
And I don't think Chambliss is a fluke. I expect him to do very well. And Gunnar Stockton, for what they ask him to do, go look at his fourth quarter numbers. They're ridiculous. He barely threw an incompletion in the fourth quarter.
He's got that winner.
He has got an it to him.
Yeah.
I'm a huge fan.
Not a huge fan?
I am a huge fan.
Oh,
he
okay.
reminds me so much of Connor Shaw, and I just
I like that comp. Yeah.
Well, he played for J-Bo or Lee. Well, he played at Raven County where
I know
Shaws
that.
were coaching, and he is. I mean, when he committed to Carolina, we talked about that. And, he's just got an it.
He's got an it.
And
There's no doubt.
Bobo's
I think he fits
really
Mike
good
perfect.
dialing him up for him.
Yeah.
And they haven't, since they lost Brock Bowers and Ladd McConkey, they haven't exactly had like elite weapons on the outside. I say on the outside because Bowers didn't do a ton of blocking. He was basically a wideout in their offense, and nobody could cover him. And nobody could cover Ladd McConkey, who still gets open in the NFL. They haven't had that. And I don't know if they really have that this year either, in terms of who they brought in the portal. Georgia, for whatever reason, they miss on a lot of wide receivers for an elite program.
That's an interesting thing. Well, a lot of it goes back to my favorite subject, recruiting geography. The state of Georgia has a lot of bust receivers, guys that are ranked high that don't turn out. If you think about the best Georgia receivers they've had, sure, you have had some guys from Georgia that were good, but like the best ones of the Richt era were like Muhammad Massaquoi, he's from Charlotte.
Yeah.
AJ Green was from Summerville, South Carolina. Brock Bowers, tight end, of course. Georgia's had great tight ends. Napa, California. Ladd McConkey, he's a Georgia boy, but overachiever, that kind of guy. He's there, But I mean, look, man, it's just one of those things. He would, for me to take a receiver out of Georgia, it would have to be like, he had to be special. And there just have not been a lot of them, which is weird.
It is, because you would think they could go up there and recruit with the LSUs and for a while, Clemson.
Every year, dude, there's players out of Georgia that are ranked highly receiver, and for some reason they just don't pan out.
Is it because of the offense?
I don't know that it's the offense at the University of Georgia, because South Carolina signed some receivers out of Georgia that have not. They've come in highly regarded that have not done well.
Mm-hmm.
It's just one of those things. Certain states, you have to factor a bust factor in, especially when they're as large as the state of Georgia. I also kind of have a theory that maybe the offenses in that state at the high school level are they're not quite like Texas, where Texas, everybody's throwing a little more. Georgia still kind of runs a little.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. It's a mystery. Now watch,
it is.
The best receiver of all time will come out of Georgia. Like they'll rename the Bolitnikoff Award for him. He's from Atlanta, shows what you know, Sherbert.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just they get everything else. They seemingly get everything else they want, and it works out real well. But
you want a running back? Georgia I mean,
I was going to say, is that how much of that is a function of identity for the Georgia program, right?
I mean, I think Kirby's identity is old school Saban identity, pre-Tua, throwing it all over the place. They still are. Mike Bobo is still going to do things their way. You know, they're gonna run a lot of 2 tight end sets. They're not going to throw it 40 times a game. Like that's just not the Georgia way.
Yeah, it's like the impression of Georgia is like it would not surprise you to see them have 2 first-round running backs on their roster.
Not at all.
No wide receiver draft picks.
What I love about Bobo though is when he wants to turn it on, he can. Think about the Tennessee game last year. Think about the Ole Miss game they won in Athens. Like it gets to a point, it's almost like Kirby's like, all right, unleash the hounds. And then he'll dial them up and be good at it.
The Ole Miss, was it the Ole Miss game, the 4th down, the Gunnar Stockton pass? I mean, that thing was a rope. There's just, that's why people are saying, you know, Gunner's not getting the hype. He's not going to put up the numbers, but damn, that kid can play.
Yeah, he's a ball player.
Yeah. He can absolutely play. Anyway, that was the JT's Kia multi-segmented drive around the SEC. Check them out. Locations all over the state of South Carolina. Get yourself a nice ride from JT's Kia. Also presented by Troy Branham. Best mortgage rates around. 803-238-0111. 803-238-0111. Troy will take terrific care of you today.
Really appreciate Preston Thorne and certainly appreciate David Cloninger for the 15 or so minutes we had him down.
What happened?
Tampa.
His phone didn't work? I was off.
He was in the lobby, dude, at a hotel, and I was all everybody.
We got most of it in.
It was just a little delay, and then it finally just blew.
Yeah, so most of it in.
I shouldn't have mentioned the space station in Armageddon. I probably jinxed it. Stupid.
I don't think the interview would have been complete, though, if you didn't.
China.
Oh, man.
Yeah, man.
So I guess people can tune in to Feinbaum today, right? Shane will be on there.
Yep. He'll be on at 4, right around 4:30.
Marty and McGee, too, this afternoon.
Well, he's taping for Marty and McGee this afternoon.
Oh, taping. I'm sorry.
Yeah, they've got the annual coaches show that they do. They tape that there.
That's on Marty McGee's, Saturday morning, right?
Saturday mornings, yeah.
I didn't know. Well, sorry, coffee listeners. Where's Marty McGee today? He lied.
Basically said Marty and McGee were coming out.
He lied to us. Liar.
Shut up. Yeah. Marty McGee doesn't air during Feinbaum. You missed the mark on that one, Sherbert. Oh, man. All right, I'm going to ease on out of here and get to work. Brett Ciencia with Pick 6 previews tomorrow. Rob will be in to co-host in the morning as well, and certainly look forward to that. Glad to be back, no doubt about it. Morning show presented by our friends at the West Law Firm and our buddies at Resto Pros. We'll see you tomorrow.
Gamecock Traditions is your Nike superstore and your home for anything and everything with a South Carolina logo. Visit us in the Midlands and order online at GamecockTraditions.com. Go Gamecocks!
The State Farm Personal Price Plan helps you create an affordable price just for you.
Contact local agent Gary Patterson for your personal price plan today.
Walk me through the toughest case or situation we've had to handle without names or locations. Just what was the toughest situation?
The hardest one was there was an individual that defended themselves in their home and they're still criminally charged. And there was evidence that they were, being sought after for something that they weren't technically involved in. And they're being charged criminally because they defended themselves inside of their own home for doing what was right and what we believe at Right to Bear to be a human right.
TheBigSpur.com, now part of On3. Join for just $1 today.
When you buy and sell your sports and fitness gear at Play It Again Sports, you support a local business. We pay our customers for their quality used sports and fitness gear and resell it, recycling it back into your community. Support local, score savings.
Palm Casual Patio Furniture presents our coverage of South Carolina football. Visit palmcasual.com today. Make your outdoor space the best it can be. Go Gamecocks.
The State Farm Personal Price Plan helps you create an affordable price just for you.
Contact local agent Gary Patterson for your personal price plan today.
A really common fear in a workman's compensation case is what's going to happen to my job if I report this injury? And my answer to that is you still need to report your injury. I'm dealing directly with the insurance company, and the insurance company is going to treat you like a file number. So let me make sure that doesn't happen to you. Let me get involved in your workman's compensation case.
Coffee, weekday mornings with JC Sherbert. Watch or listen on the Chief Sports app, the Chief Sports YouTube page, and available on Apple and Spotify.
Clowns are people too. Clowns are people too. Now I own some tiny horns and got me those red shoes. I don't know much, but know one thing that's true. If you don't know anything, just know that clowns are people too.
Now back to the clowns on the Chief Sports Network.
Welcome in, everybody. It is Inside the Gamecocks, the show here. We are live, JC, just rolling into hour 3 on the special. We're going to have to figure out, we'll have to workshop some intros and openings there to get us into the show here. Since
I've got some coming, man.
Spending 5. Yeah, no. That's all right. I'm not trying to put any pressure on you. God knows
Don't
you got
put pressure
going on, dude.
No, I've been to work on it Sunday, and we had a little mishap around here. So
yeah, hey, that's all right. Speaking
I've
of
got to scroll and and all that. It'll be there.
Speaking of a lot of work on your shoulders, don't forget everybody, fourquarterfriday.com. Join for $1 now. And get in on all your high school sports around South Carolina. It's going to be fun. We got chat message boards. I don't know why I keep saying chat rooms. I know why, because I'm old. But no, they're message
chat rooms. There's chat rooms, man.
Dude, I remember Prodigy and that whole setup. That's how old I am, right? Yeah, dude. It's
AOL
hey, fourquarterfriday.com. Get in on it if you want to chop it up with all of your friends, talk junk about your high school,
yes,
or alma mater against somebody else's. We'll all be in there here as season gets cranked up. I don't know why, but I'm going to talk all kinds of mess about Wade Hampton, even though they probably don't deserve it. But you know what? Somebody needs to. Darn it.
Wade Hampton made the theme song, brother.
They did. I saw.
I basically just put all of our alma maters in there. I was like, I hate to mention Wade Hampton.
I know.
I think, Wade Hampton's been around as a school for a long time.
Yes, and has a national or state championship in football on to their credit.
60, I think. But my dad, my dad back in the day, there was no Dorman in Spartanburg. There was Spartan High, and then Burns came along, I think, in 56. But before that, it was like a Florence. It was like a lot of small, Woodruff was there. But so there was no Dorman in Spartanburg. And so Spartanburg's big rivalry was Greenville.
Right.
They played at Serene Stadium. And then Wade Hampton was the like the Dorman of Greenville. Right. And you had, so so Dad used to play Wade Hampton. So they're a legacy school.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
They just have been terrible.
That's right. It's just most of the time bad.
I mean, hey, Sewanee was really good in the SEC in the 1900s. So they're a legacy school.
Well, I know, kind of similar to your experience, although I think Burns football was a little bit better. But, Wade Hampton, all 4 years I was there, the band was better than the football team.
Well, now hold on. Now, the band being better than the football team, and a lot of people we know were in the Burns Rebel Regiment.
Right.
When I was in high school, some of them. One played the French horn. You would never think he was a mellophone or French horn player, but he was. And they were better than football. Like my junior year, the football team won 10 games. Well, they were a number 1 seed in the 4A. Back then, there was no 5A. It was just Big 16, then 4A D2. Number 1 seed at home played Hillcrest Dalzell, who the year before in basketball had beaten us in the state championship game with Ray Allen.
Ray Allen, right? Yeah.
And dude, Hillcrest Dalzell beat Carolina. Let me say Carolina. Beat Burns 21-17. I'll never forget it. Brian Lane, the head coach at Westside High School, was the quarterback for that Burns team. So, but yeah, check out fourquarterfriday.com. Check out thebigspur.com and Gamecock Central. We have specials going on both for membership. If you buy a 4 Quarter Friday membership, you get to read all of the On 3 and Big Spur articles, and then vice versa. You get the articles with the membership. Message boards require separate memberships, if I'm not mistaken. I think they worked that out, but we will see. Because you keep the community's just a little bit extra, Phil. It's a little bit extra.
Just not too much. We're not asking for a lot.
Just a little bit extra. So back to the McKellar Enterprises Chat Box, because we were talking about SEC quarterbacks. Mike with the drive around the SEC is always excellent with that. I'm glad. Yeah, I was a little worried because you just never like to pretend like you're criticizing a professional on the air. But what I heard that echo of Mike's microphone, the echo with the uniform, echo with the microphone. And I've wanted, I've done that before and gone back and listened to me like, oh my God, I can't believe, because we can't hear it on our end.
Yeah, it's not as bad.
So I put a private chat in there. I was very hesitant. And he's like, oh, wait a minute. But so I'm glad Mike went back and listened, because I know it would drive him crazy if he was listening to that. But that is what happens. There's your computer mic is not as good as the mics that we have. A lot of our guests use the computer mic, and that's fine, but we like to kind of be a little bit more high sound quality, right, Mando?
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, Mike was going through all that. We're talking about top 5 quarterbacks. None of those guys had Lenore Sellers in the top 5, and that's fine with me, because I think that it's nice to have something to prove. I think these days, the less complacent you are, and the more you just kind of concentrate on winning and all that in sports, especially college sports with everything that's going on, I think the better positioned you are. Because I'll tell you this, there's an opponent full of 18 to 21-year-olds, or, maybe 24-year-olds for a little bit longer at least, that read everything too. You can't, you used to be able to hide the newspapers from players, and so you can't do that anymore. It's all on their phone. I mean, they're going to read everything. Human nature, right? And they're reading it, Lenore Sellers, and that's ought to be easy. Okay,
sure.
So okay, that's fine, good. So maybe your opponent gives a little bit less, like Spurrier used to. Maybe they'll help us out a little bit. Help us out a little bit.
Yeah, I like the fact that Carolina's under the radar right now, heading into the football season, right? I mean, it just seems to be. And it's cliche at this point, but hey, I mean, cliche means that there's some truth to it. That's right where Beamer wants to be, right? That's where he excels, is playing that underdog card, and just getting his team motivated, at least from a motivation standpoint.
Yeah, and I did some things with the Beamer era. Probably second segment, we'll get into that. I talked about it briefly on Coffee today, but I went back and kind of looked at the roller coaster that has been the Shane Beamer era at South Carolina. It has been.
Yep.
And it's usually darkest before the dawn, right? In one way or the other, right? Sometimes whether that's a close loss or a couple of close losses, and then you think, well, they're cooked and they turn it around, or whether that's a blowout loss, or whether that's a season that doesn't go that well, or whether it's a close win over a group of 5 team. There's a pattern there.
Yeah.
With him as a head coach. Now, I tend to think he really hadn't changed much as a head coach. He's kind of the same guy, the core values and all that. But I think he's finally hired, at least on paper, a guy that makes sense as his OC. So
yes, yeah. I mean,
so this we may see a model of consistency, one way or the other.
Right. Yeah. I mean,
Because I mean,
like
yeah.
it. I would hope Brile sticks around enough to where, some of his scheme would rub off on a couple of the other offensive coaches, and maybe they could just move up into a position and kind of run that their own way in that aggressive, creative, and fun manner. But it's the last piece of the trifecta, right? You got a good quality DC. I mean, one of the best, I think, in the league in Clayton White. You've got, your head coach obviously is just bleeds special teams. And now, you finally have an offense that is a college geared offense that looks like it well, not just looks like, but has proven that it makes sense against even competition within the SEC in this league.
Well, I'll tell you this too, Phil. With Briles too, the stuff he does is out there. I mean, it's not South Carolina's not all of a sudden reinventing the wheel. This is not when like Mo Malzahn came into the league. And I even think when Josh Heupel got to Tennessee, a lot of people were a little surprised at what they were doing because the Josh Heupel that left from Missouri to go to UCF, he's a little different coming from UCF Tennessee, especially during the pandemic. And one of the reasons why is his OC at UCF was one Jeff Levy, who is Kendall Briles' brother-in-law. They do the same stuff. Kendall and Jeff worked for Lane Kiffin and had some influence there. The Lane Kiffin that left Alabama, not the same Lane Kiffin that came, steamrolling out of UCF to the Ole Miss job. If you look at what they do, Alex Golish at Auburn, somebody had Byron Brown, and I think Chris Doering. I mean, I like Byron Brown. Don't get me wrong. I think he's a heck of a quarterback, and I think for what Auburn needs to do this year, he's going to be an X factor. There's going to be some impressive moments. But if I watched the South Florida game last year, which I know Chris Doering did, he may have even had the game.
Right.
But he's a Florida Gator. I mean, I'm probably a little more impressed with Brown than, say, if I'd have watched the Miami UCF game where they lost 49-12, and he did throw for 274 yards, but went nowhere on the ground.
Yeah.
And so I mean, I get it. And I'm not going to sit there and be skeptical of any of these quarterbacks. I mean, I've seen them all off season. Lenoris is somewhere in the middle. Of the league. People aren't quite ready to bury him, but they're,
No. And I mean, there's shades, obviously, of, the kill zone and Diego Pavia with, Golish and Brown, because there's the familiarity there. And I think it's reasonable. I don't think it's that reasonable to rank him that high, but I would definitely, I could see a scenario where Byron Brown finishes in the top half of SEC quarterback production.
We're talking about him. Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And I'll say this too. It's just kind of one of those things where his numbers, when you look at it, and this is the American Conference, right? I mean, let's be honest.
This is a different step up here.
Yeah. And if there's any good defensive players in that league at all, they're probably the next year going and playing somewhere else.
Right.
Be it NFL or otherwise. However, he threw for 3,100 and rushed for 1,000 yards. I mean, that's I don't care who you're doing that against to put up those kind of numbers.
Yeah, that's serious.
I don't necessarily agree with it. I mean, like if I'm looking for a sleeper quarterback in this league, I think Kamario Taylor from Mississippi State, who's on everybody's mind around here, would be the guy. Auburn's out of sight, out of mind because Carolina to play them.
Yeah.
And I the Marcel Reed thing, I think it's kind of the thing like I was talking about with Brown. We've all seen Reed have a gloriously great, from an Aggie perspective, a terrible from Carolina's perspective, half of football against the Gamecocks. But the other 6 quarters we watched him, he was very average.
Right.
Below average.
Yeah.
I mean, some cases below. I mean, I thought the guy was going to throw 3 or 4 more interceptions last year in that game against Carolina. I was like, this is just Carolina's day. Now, at no point did I think the Gamecocks would win.
No.
But as far as his performance goes, I was like, well, I thought they'd be more like they start running the ball or Concepcion takes a punt back, something like that. But he lit them up, 3 for 439 yards. But and the Aggies came back and won. But I like Marcel Reed. I think the question there, Phil, is going to be, well, we've seen it around here. First time ever play callers that get promoted,
Right.
When you have a guy like Colin Klein that's really, really proven and good at it, and you got a guy, I mean, Holman Wiggins has been around a long time. Not like Tony Elliott a long time where he was like, working for Chad Morris, learned the Clemson offense and all that. I've read some articles. I mean, you got to be careful, especially when you got a defensive minded head coach that will just assume you run it and run 5 minutes off the clock and never score as anything. Right.
Right.
Mike Elko during the Notre Dame game, his debut is on camera going, run the effing ball, and they were down.
Right. Yeah. But it's just like, hey,
I mean, they were losing and I was like, oh my God. But,
try something.
So when you start reading like, oh, he's going to bring this NFL concept in that he had, and then all this other stuff, you're like, oh Lord. Aggie fans need to remember the Mike Sherman era. And then the next year when Cliff Kingsbury and Kevin Sumlin came in, your fifth string quarterback won the Heisman. Johnny
right. Yeah.
Because what they do, the scheme made more sense. And and that's what everybody hopes for Carolina. But hey, I understand that. I'm not a Marcel. I'm very zen about these rankings. After last year, I think I was a little militant about it because I still think Lenore Sellers is a special player. I don't absolve him for every issue last year because it's never just one thing.
Yeah.
Ole Miss game. There were some open receivers down the field. There's no reason why he shouldn't hit them. It was like, what were we talking yesterday? I was listening to Chris and Wes on Gamecock Central Live. Not much good about the offense last year, except downfield passing plays. Carolina's pretty decent at explosive plays down the field.
Right.
And you got to cash in on those, even if your offense is good. So, but I'm still really high on Sellers. This type of offense makes more sense for him. I've just seen this too many times where you have very, very pedestrian scheme and some NFL ideas and all that. And things don't go well. And everybody's like, brr. And then they're like, well, you get this college guy or this dude from high school. And he just comes in and goes up and they just go up and down the field because it makes more sense. Or you'll see it like when Browse left Arkansas, Pittman and KJ Jefferson and Rocket Sanders. Like, how about Dan Enos? Dan Enos, really good. Really good.
Yeah.
Helped the Eagles put in all their RPO game.
Exactly.
Jalen Hurts.
With Hurts, right.
You can't tell you, he lasted 8 games. They fire him. Oh, and then the receivers coach starts calling plays. Oh, by the way, they just go to the swamp and beat Florida and Billy Ball. and Rocket, that was his one good game in 2023.
Right. Yeah.
KJ looked like $1 million because the receivers coach was out because it was just that structured. And sometimes you gotta let the guy, when you have guys, just let them go play.
Yeah. That's like shades of the first half of the A&M game.
Yeah.
It's just like, go out there and do it, man.
Mike Furry's debut as a play caller, they're chunking it down the field. They're running reverses. They had 2 backs in the backfield. I mean, I'm like, wow, this is actually pretty good.
Look at this. Yeah.
Second half, not so much. But here we go. Krager says Axel will be on stage around 1 a.m.
Yeah.
Usually that's the case. But, dude, they run a tight ship now because they're all older. They're in their 60s.
Right.
I get up around 7, get out of bed around 7:09. Oh, man. So, Upton Bellenfont Bruin says will probably be the guy experience. I mean, yeah, and look, it's like, I mean, if he wasn't any good when he played for Pete Limbo at Buffalo 2 years ago.
Right.
I would probably say that. So I've kind of, because I was kind of thinking, well, if Bellenfont can't do it, Orson could come in. Orson's 6'1", 210, by the way. So still a big kicker.
Yeah, that's a big dude.
Dude, William Joyce was a big kicker. People didn't realize that. He's 6'2", 225.
Yeah.
It's a big dude. But I mean, I don't know. I think, as I've said about the kickers all off season, sometimes you get worried about them. And then you get to the season, everybody's, and it's just, they're just, oh, well, what were we worried about? I remember when Spencer Lanning was the kicker because he was the punter before. I think Suckup left and then Lanning took over.
I think there was one season, I think, there.
Who's going to kick?
Yeah.
Oh, well, Suckup, who's going to kick? Well, Lanning Spencer Lanning.
Lanning Spencer.
Spencer Lanning was awesome. Oh, it's
Yes.
good for 52, you know. The difference is, though, is nowadays everybody in college football seems to have a dude with a big leg. It's kind of weird.
Yeah.
Like, because I was defending Herrera a few years back, and I was like, well, you know, people are mad because he's missing from 50. What gives? Well, little did I know that was pretty common.
Yes, because everybody's hitting from 50 now.
Like the
except
NFL, you know,
Yeah.
you're like, oh, okay, well.
Yeah, they're lining up for 60-yarders in the damn league now.
Perhaps I've been mistaken. You know? So, yeah, Ghost had a good point. Look back at Browse, and he ran it more than he passed it with KJ Jefferson, running back mostly, but not just quarterback runs. Yeah, the Browse offense, folks, going back to the Baylor days, is a running offense. I mentioned Josh Heupel earlier at Tennessee. If you look at Tennessee's numbers and the way they pile up rushing yards, you know, they'll run it. It's designed to be able to run the football.
Yeah.
And my understanding is that they think they can run the football this year.
They should be able to, right? I mean,
I mean, if you go tempo, it takes pressure off your offensive line, as we've talked about. When you have a quarterback that can throw, I mean, and this is another thing. Please go listen. It's on the Gamecock Central YouTube channel with Chris Clark and Wes Mitchell. They were talking about the Browse offense, just 10-minute video where they break it down, and they started making a good point about putting a defense in conflict.
Yeah.
And when you have playmakers, as South Carolina does, and you've got to, you want to give a defensive coordinator a checklist, right? Last year, I'm not sure there was a checklist. Eventually there was, hey, don't let Harbor get open deep.
Right.
You know, in the pass game, don't let Sellers run the ball, and don't let Harbor get open deep.
Yeah.
And so when you've got to stop two things and you're pretty comfortable with doing it, you can. If you got to stop five, that's a different story. Because it puts you in conflict, because, you know, when you don't have the ability to match up, but very few individual players can match up with Lenore Sellers, like one-on-one. Like you don't have like a one linebacker that can just chase him around the field, dominate him.
This is your job today.
That ain't gonna happen. And so, you know, so you need help. You need two spies like Ole Miss used, or you need this. And if you don't, you know, you're like, well, this receiver, I mean, they're not gonna be able to get it off because we can dominate here, there. I mean, but like if you're like, okay, crap, so we got to get lined up and get in position. They're going to snap the ball pretty quick. In most cases, they won't always, but in most cases, they're snap the ball quick. We got to get up. We got to stop this guy from running the 6'4", 240-pound locomotive.
Yeah.
And oh, by the way,
every time.
Yeah. And then this other freak on the outside, Nick Harbor, you know, they're liable just to throw it up to him and let him run under it and beat us on a touchdown so we need help there. And you hope that that's the case. I'm not predicting that it's definitely going to be the case. They're going to have to help on Nick Harbor, but if he starts, you know, figuring it out like he has every year and takes another step, he probably do. And oh, by the way, they got these really good slot playmaker receivers like Tuggle and Sellers and Bennett and all these guys. They got tight ends that'll beat you in different ways. Brady Hunt and Mike Tyler. And the running back's a stud, Matt Fuller. You know, and who knows if all these guys will be that. But so you don't really, you're as a D coordinator, I would think you're at your own peril. The more you like decide to do special things, you know, just try to get everything stopped. But some good defensive coordinators too will tell you we can't stop everything. What we're going to try to do is stop what we can and live with the rest.
Live with you.
And hope they help us. You know.
Well, I think that's one of the more frustrating things about watching the offense last year, JC, is the fact that it's like you have all the tools in place to do specifically that, put the defense in conflict. And it was just so rote and vanilla that you're like, we're not doing this at all.
Not a bit.
This is the war of attrition that we're going to get a day full of tomorrow, you know?
Oh, goodness gracious. So, but yeah, Ghost Browse runs the football. All right. God, that goes quick, man.
Yeah, quick segment, man. Football season, man. There's
football season. So Shane Beamer and the Gamecocks get started at 2:55 Eastern today, so it's 12:30. So you got a couple of hours to get ready, tune in, and make sure you're on the SEC Network. I believe Shane will talk to the local media, but nobody's heard anything about that. The local media scrum, I would guess.
Yeah, I would think so. He's got a full day, though, man. His schedule, he's bouncing all over the places after.
I saw that. A lot of media hits. He did media. Shane does a lot of media. He likes it. He's good at it, quite frankly.
Yeah.
He actually mentioned that in an interview I heard with him. He thought about sportscasting. I mean, like he said, he talked about that in an interview I heard with him recently. Maybe it was Jimmy Francis. Jimmy Francis.
That's right. Well, let's hope in 20 years after he retires from Carolina that he finds himself behind a desk somewhere.
And boom goes the dynamite.
That's right.
Shane Beamer. Boom goes the dynamite.
Boom goes the dynamite.
Oh, man, dude. Shane would be good as a studio analyst. He's like, listen, I'm going to tell you this right now. He'd be pretty good.
Oh, yeah.
Very personable guy. Good person. Everybody's pulling for him, man, this year. Everybody's pulling for him. Yeah. We'll talk about this hot seat stuff, and McKellar Enterprises Chat Box has some interesting stuff. And speaking of sportscasters, Carl Ravitch laid off at ESPN. They got rid of Ryan Clark too. That didn't hurt my feelings.
Nah.
Although Ryan Clark, I'll say, sometimes has some good football stuff I like. Anyway, Carl Ravitch, man. Good Lord, that's one of your best voices.
I know. Jeez. That didn't make sense to me. That one was a bit, but hey, that's what they do at Disney is make weird decisions.
They got to save money because they got to pay the SEC, right?
That's right.
All right, Mad Dog and I, this is Inside the Gamecocks, the show. We will be back after this quick commercial timeout for the last segment. Send you off to SEC Media Days and Beamer after this.
Join thebigspur.com and Gamecock Central today for the best Gamecock coverage in South Carolina. Proud partners of On3.
Whether it's fireside or poolside, if it's time to watch the Gamecocks, Palm Casual will make your outdoor space the best it can be. Visit palmcasual.com and come see us at one of our South Carolina locations. Go Gamecocks!
Andy, why are you burning all that money?
Because if you're buying a Honda or Toyota, that's exactly what you're doing. Look at the new Kia K4. It's $2,000 less than the Civic, and Honda only has a 5-year warranty. JT's Kia has a 1,000,000-mile warranty.
Don't forget JT's Advantage package. Oil changes, roadside assistance, and so much more. Why burn money?
840 North Anderson Road, where we're serious about saving you money.
JT's Kia Rock Hill.
Kia summer sticker sales event.
Shopping at Gamecock Traditions is easy. Just pick up your phone. Type in GamecockTraditions.com. Select your items and purchase. They will ship it to your doorstep. GamecockTraditions.com.
The Aventon Adventure 2 takes the same basic design as the original Aventon Adventure, making it an adventure bike designed to take you places that typical roads just don't reach, allowing you to ride whatever terrain you want based on your whims of the day. Look at what you're getting. Hydraulic disc brakes, torque sensor for responsive pedal assist, great LED lighting, suspension, a beautifully welded frame with excellent build quality, included rear rack, included fenders. The list just keeps going on.
Visit electricbikescharleston.com for more.
Sell your quality sports and fitness equipment to Play It Again Sports and get paid. Recycling your in-demand sports gear keeps it available in your community. Sell, buy, trade, and win with Play It Again Sports.
If you need a new fence, railings, even new columns, there is only one call in South Carolina. Gamecock great, Ryan Brewer. Over 15 years in the industry. Visit ryanbrewer.net today.
Watch JC and Morgan every week on the Chief Sports Network. Now back to ITG.
Welcome back, everybody, inside the Gamecocks, the show here. Final segment of the show on a terrible Tuesday ahead of Shane Beamer. It's Shane Beamer Day.
It's Gamecock Day.
Yeah, I love it. Ready,
All
kicking
right,
the
so
ball.
I guess an ESPN analyst. Which one? Who knows? Bill Connolly. Wow, he said something about the Gamecocks. Said Harbor and Sellers, the two most intimidating offensive duos, probably because of their size.
Oh, yeah. Mike mentioned that. Yeah. But Bill Connolly.
I mean, there's probably not many players and people on the football team I have more respect for. I have healthy respect for all of them. I think Carolina's been very, very fortunate to have a good group of people on the team, win, lose, or draw. I also think that if they're not here for very long. That's the thing about one of the positive things about having such a good culture,
right?
Is that kind of thing just takes care of itself because the other players will ostracize people that aren't good and just kind of takes care. You don't have to be a heavy, just get rid. They'll just fix the glitch, like an Office Space.
They make the tea leaves really easy to read.
Yeah, but they got people. But there's not for the work ethic, the time he puts in, how he treats people. Nick Harbor is one of my favorites of all time.
Oh yeah,
I know some people that know him really well, and he's just a fantastic human being. I'm trying not to jump on the hype train with him, and I'll tell you why. Because he was a 5-star, because you look at the 241 pounds and you look at the sprinter's speed, and then you look at what he has done at times where you go, gee whiz. Catch and run against A&M. We've been waiting on that for a long time. I just don't want people to be down.
Right.
When he's probably going to make his normal improvement. But how good is that? I think a lot of people are expecting a Xavier Legette style senior or final year. I do think it'll be his final year, but I think they're expecting 71 catches and all that. Hey, maybe I'll be great with it. But Xavier Legette was a different. You watch from the North Carolina game in 2023 on some of the catches he was making. He wasn't making those the year before until the end against Notre Dame,
right?
And that got him going. I think with Nick, what's positive about it though, is you look at what he does add every year. Started out, he's basically a possession receiver. Because in 23, freshman, he's just out there.
He's just fast.
Just kind of, he just ran across the field and caught it and fell down.
Yep.
So then we get to the end of 24, and he's still doing that little crossing pattern pretty well, but all of a sudden, against Missouri, he gets open deep. And then against Wofford, he catches a long pass. And then, then you started seeing that all year last year from Virginia Tech on. That was probably the best play the offense had. Throw it up deep to Nick.
Yep.
There really wasn't much else, right?
One dimension.
And so, so the little glimpses of hope we saw at the end of 24 manifested themselves in 25. So then last year, that catch and run against A&M, you start thinking to yourself, if he can start doing this where he finds a spot in a defense, turns it upfield, and leaves everybody,
right.
That gets good because, when you have a pretty good offensive coordinator, pretty good passing game, a lot of things are designed to find the hole in the defense. You find it, and boom, and he's just got it. He has the angle, and he's able to turn around, get upfield, and accelerate fast enough to run off and leave everybody.
Right.
So,
well, that's
hey.
what, it's like that evolution, right? Where a good receiver, like the best receivers, are never fully covered, even if they're double covered, right?
Yeah.
Because it's like your route tree has what it needs in it. Your execution of the tree has what it needs to be able to run yourself open. And if that's the next step, like everybody's like, we're watching him evolve as a wide receiver. It's like, I'm not officially on a hype train, JC, with the whole Nick Harbor thing, but what we've seen is what you've just said is there has been a progression in his ability and skill set year over year over year. And there's nothing that says that is not going to continue. Right.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's not hype so much as it is he has set forth this expectation of improvement and continued development that is exciting to look towards. Now, I'm not saying, oh, he's going to be the number one receiver in the country, blah, 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 but it does make for an intimidating, quarterback wide receiver combo when you got a guy like Lenora Sellers throwing to a freak athlete like Nick Harbor, who has advanced every year he's been on the field. Oh, and is now in his 4th year of starting.
Absolutely. I'm with you there, because it's like, if he takes that next step forward, but like I'll compare him to Xavier, and Xavier got really good at like going up and getting it, timing his jumps, all that good stuff. Hey, Blake, Queen of the Cox, is back. Blake.
Queen's back. Yeah.
He's back in the saddle. It is football season. I just don't know that I've seen that for him. Maybe he adds that because he is 6'5", but I just don't know that he's a jump baller type guy. I think he's a big sprinter is what he is. He's different. He's different than any other player you're going to find. But that's good that they knew that when they recruited him. I mean, he's just a freak. So, but I'm glad he's going to media days. I'm glad he's getting a little love.
Yeah.
People are going to talk about him. Like I said, I'm just trying to slow it down. I also know this: Carolina's got other players in that room. They're going to have something to say about making a play or two this year.
That's right. Yeah.
I mean, there's only one football too. So I don't know.
I think they'll
it'd be like 75 receptions. I'm like, I don't know about that, man.
I don't know.
Anyway, Tri-State says, what's up, guys? I'm sorry I might have missed it yesterday, but are you guys going to do the tailgate show this year? Yes.
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 That's right.
First one will be bright and early on September 5th.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's my favorite hour of the week.
You're in football, yeah. Because I know I'm about to like chill and watch football.
That's right. After we get this behind us, we're
this done. Man, our tailgate show last year before the Virginia Tech game, I think it had like 5,600 views. I'm like, of course, the popularity of it went downhill after that.
Yeah, that's all right. Hopefully it'll increase. Like, we'll probably start out strong and then
let's keep going. Keep going. Yeah. So but yes, Tri-State, we're gonna do that. TD says it's hard for him to talk junk about high school ball because he went to Carolina Forest and lives in Myrtle Beach. I think I'm the only one on here who lives at the beach. Yeah, there's one thing I've been digging into high school markets and numbers for 4 Quarter Friday behind the scenes. You probably won't see my name on that site often, but I'm behind the scenes, edit it, and the strategy and all that because we own it. North Myrtle Beach, the Chiefs have a big, active bunch of parents and boosters. What do you think about that, TD? Am I right about that or wrong? I don't know. It just seems to me like there's a lot of North Myrtle Beach people out there.
Yeah.
Lance says the best mascot in South Carolina is Golden Flashes.
Johnsonville mentioned in the intro.
It's Johnsonville's in the song too.
Got some love in the song.
But look, it's it's about to definitely be the undisputed because one of my favorite. Well, the Travelers Rest Devil Dogs are up there for me.
That's a good one. Yeah, that's
TR.
A good
one. And I like the Barnwell War Horses.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And Barnwell, they're making a Barnwell County high school. So they're combining a bunch of schools, and they're not going to be, I think they're the Comets or Cobras or something.
Oh, really? They're going to get rid of
the War Horses.
Oh, like they did in Colleton there when they got rid of.
The Walterboro. Walterboro was gone. Cam says he's been critical of Peyton Williams, but according to PFF, highest overall defensive grade at 75.7, team's highest coverage grade at 76.4, and top tackling grade on the entire defense last year. I think when a safety messes up, though, I think there's two things. Is probably why you feel that way. Because same here.
Yeah.
Is when it's kind of like offensive line. When a safety messes up, the band is playing.
Right.
And a lot of times it's not even on the safety. Like, this is kind of a reverse, but in 2010, Carolina's pass defense that year, they won the SEC East, but the pass defense wasn't all that good. I mean, they got torched sometimes. In 2010, I remember being at the SEC championship game, and the guy beside me was like, Gilmore's awful, Stephon. And it was because Carolina really had poor safety play that year. Now they fixed it the next year, but and Stephon was trying to because you'd see Stephon chasing after the receiver,
right?
And so it looks like it wasn't his guy. He was just trying to make up for it. So I think that's number one. I think number two, no matter who played back there, Cam, they weren't going to be Nick Eamonwaring.
Right. Yes.
I mean, it just wasn't good. But Peyton, I mean, he's out of Texas, Rockwall High School, I believe, in the Dallas Metroplex. 3-star guy they brought in. Good player. ESPN had him in the top 200, 300, top 300. Good film.
Mm-hmm.
Got in there as a freshman against Tennessee and did some really nice things in a tough situation. Was a late start at Vandy in 2024, did really well. Had some good moments. He's had moments. That pick he made at LSU last year, late in the end zone.
Yeah, right. Mm-hmm.
Saved some embarrassment, right? But like a lot of players, last year I thought Fred Johnson had some great moments. After the first game, I was ready to anoint myself king of linebackers because I was talking him up, and he had such a great game against Virginia Tech. But he's inconsistent. So defensive players, I think consistency is a big deal.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes even when a defensive player is doing their job, we don't always see it because we're like, well, gosh, they got 15 yards on this play, and we don't know the assignments and all that. And so that could be where that is. But I'll just say this about Peyton overall. He needs to be that guy that around here that in the defensive backfield saves his best for last.
It's his year, right? Yeah, it's his turn.
I can't say DQ Smith did it. I just can't say that DQ was like significantly better his last year.
I think he didn't, because he didn't do it, JC, to the level that we have seen in previous years, right?
Yeah.
Like with the corner that emerges and grabs his draft stock, right?
Yeah.
I mean, DQ did not have that kind of year.
Yeah, it was so like Darius Rush. Yeah, he had some big moments.
Yeah.
And I think with DQ too, he's a really good football player. I think with DQ in the pass game, he had the pick six in against Notre Dame in the bowl for the touchdown. And he's had those he didn't really have those types of moments once you got past a certain point.
Yeah.
But so anyway, I can't really say individually, but man, look at O'Donnell Fortune 2023 versus 2024.
Right.
I mean,
that was
that guy. I mentioned Rush. Cam Smith.
His is one that comes really to mind. Good. Yeah, it's like,
going back to Jalen Foster, So I think that's what you hope is that, and look, Peyton's practiced pretty well. I mean, he won the defensive MVP award, and
I think it was,
mentally and all that. You have to be there. But I was happy he went to media days. He needs some love too.
Yes.
So
I think that speaks to also one of the big gaps in last year's teams was leadership. Like something tells me, Peyton Williams is not in Tampa today if his on and off the field leadership had not made a step forward.
Right. No doubt. Lance said, Bobby asked if if Fry had any eligibility left. Oh, heck, maybe he should.
It was no bigger than a minute, man, but he was like just dead on every
Maybe
time.
he should file a lawsuit.
He
Like
should
everybody
sue
else.
for eligibility.
Cam said teach Lenoris how to kick. I don't know. He did play soccer. So
I'd say if we didn't, have a good punter in Mason Love, then hey, I would not close that door. I wouldn't open it publicly, but I wouldn't close it behind the scenes.
no doubt. Quantrell said ESPN's fired Ravage because they need more money for McAfee and Stephen A. Smith. Stephen A. has been getting paid for a while, but McAfee's is shooting up quickly.
Yeah.
So absolutely right. Lauren says, I hate people getting laid off. It stinks, especially after 30 years working for a company. Yeah. Ghost says Shane and Dabo want to broadcast in 20 years. Wow. Contrail said Hayes Fawcett from On 3 created a 3-headed monster graphic featuring Sellers, Harbor, Stewart coming off 4-8. If Carolina wins, the support will be there nationally, I feel like, except from the Cover 3 podcast. Yeah, I agree. But, like I was talking about, Doring probably watched every play of the South Florida game and came away maybe.
And was impressed. Right.
I think those guys are because they watched Kendall Browse did not make an impact on Florida State. They still lost and Taggart got fired. I think that's what they're thinking. But Florida State, if you look at the quarterbacks they had, the players they had, the offensive line they had, which could be a bugaboo. And he still put up numbers down there. It was the best they'd been through their little downtime or whatever until Norvell had that really good team last year. So that's the deal there. Kreger points out when they show Harbor's clips in the draft, he needs to show a lot of different routes with big yardage, not just 9 routes.
Yeah.
So,
or that deep crosser, because that's the added element that we spoke about. Oh yeah, from last season.
Exactly.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, find the hole and turn up the turn it. Ghost Flame says if Sellers isn't running for his life and let these routes develop downfield, it would make a huge difference. Now, I will say this. I don't believe you're going to see the amount of slower developing downfield type plays. Not this all going to be short, but I don't see them having to have a situation where Sellers is a sitting duck back there, even if they're not very good at blocking.
Right.
I think they're more liable to say one read and take off. It's not there. Go.
Yeah, that's right.
Go. Go. TD says North Myrtle Beach High School, the Chiefs. 100% right. They want to beat Myrtle Beach so bad, but won't ever be them. Dang. There's 1,000 people in Little River, South Carolina, just turned off the show.
That's right. Yep. Every one of them just click.
You mess with my MB.
What? Huh?
NMBS.
About North Myrtle Beach.
NMBHS Chiefs.
NMBHS.
When I was a kid, there was no Carolina Forest. Myrtle Beach High School was kind of the school, and Conway was a big school, and Socastee was a big school, but North Myrtle Beach was like a 2A. It was way up there, Little River. But now I guess everybody's moved. Myrtle Beach High School.
Oh, that's nice, and it's not right there on
we
that.
go to North Myrtle Beach. Krager says, who starts opposite Peyton Williams? Busey, Daniels, Currents. I think it's going to be David Busey at the beginning, Xavier and Currents shortly thereafter.
Yeah.
So,
are those three could you envision a situation where those three are essentially the starters, kind of like you have the 3 starting linebackers in the 4-2-5? Similarly, no, you just
I think if Currents supplants him, he'll supplant him,
and just
and I'll tell you why, because it's just they don't really rotate. Now they'll rotate their corners. They'll rotate the corners, but the safeties, they kind of like to go with 2 and then the nickel. David Busey could play nickel too. Very interesting. Brewitt says, is Collier healthy? Yes, he is. Tristan said they believe they said the Barnwell County Bulls. Yeah, it's not even the Cobras. It is the Bulls. Cornbread Cowboy told me about that last time I saw him in Columbia because he's from down that way.
Yeah, that's right. My wife is looking at houses down there in the Williston, Elko region of the
Williston.
Yeah.
Ori. Call Ori. He'll tell you.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay. So, Cockwheat says, I adore Stray Shots at the Cover 3 podcast.
It's Quantrell is the best at it. And I mean, that is his lane. And I love that he brings it multiple times a week.
Quantrell brings the heat. TD Null, how Chuck Jordan didn't win a state championship at Conway mind boggles me. The talent he had, vastly underrated. Yeah, they were good. I remember they played Burns, I think, in the state championship one year. Maybe it was Upper State. Burns beat him pretty good because Burns, when Bobby Bentley had it rolling at Burns, they were just hard to match up with.
Dude, that team offense. Was a juggernaut,
dude. You could not match up with them. So Pimp on a Blimp wants to talk about Phil's mustache. Looks like he just ripped 2 packs of cigs and finished the NASCAR shift.
One of those things might be true.
Oh, Bruin said he thought Conway had won. Somebody look that up. I'm not sure.
Oh.
Conway's a smaller school now. They've been Jody Generette, Conway alum, is now the head coach there. They're one of our teams we broadcast on the G Sports app. A 4-quarter Friday focus school, if you will. So,
oh, I like that.
There's that. So I don't know. But yeah, so Shane Beamer will be up here at 2:55 Eastern. Curious to see what people ask him about. They were talking about the hot seat before Cloninger got cut off. But yeah, I mean, look, there's really just nobody else to put on the hot seat from the SEC. Like I know DeBoer and Heupel and and what Clowney was saying, which made sense, is there's does Beamer have the most pressure, which is what Jamie asked him. I don't know, dude. Like as far as the most pressure goes, I think Florida and LSU and Bama are just automatically pressure cookers, no matter what year you're in.
Right.
But then the hot seat list, you're not putting Lane Kiffin. All right, as much money as they spend, if Lane Kiffin goes 5-7, unless there's some off the field something, they're not firing him.
No.
Yeah,
he may turn up missing in the Bayou one day, but
if John Summerall goes 4-8 at Florida this year, Golish goes 3-9 at Auburn, they're not firing the guy. They may fire him the next year. I think Josh Heupel would have to just have a terrible year to get fired. I mean, Josh Heupel is 45-20. He's averaged 9 wins a year.
Let's say Tennessee misses a bowl game.
He could get fired. Champions of Life
put up with that. Yeah.
Champions of Life had back-to-back 9-win seasons. Now, in 16, he screwed up because they were fortunate for that win over Georgia, where they won the last minute Hail Mary. But they had the SEC East in their hands, and Carolina beat him and knocked him out. Florida ended up winning the East that year. And then the next year he went winless in the SEC and he was out. So if Heupel has it, but I don't think Tennessee is going to be a disaster. I don't know. I think you were right yesterday, Phil, that the schedule's probably why people are picking them higher than we think. And Deshaun Bishop's a really good back. Their offense is proven. With Knowles, I think he's an excellent defensive coordinator. But everybody says, and you look at the Penn State defense last year, everybody says, oh, it takes a year or two to get everybody going.
It must be I'm not an expert in defensive schemes, but I wonder if it's just like, similarly to the Saban tree defenses, and that there are a lot of moving parts here.
Could be. I'll tell you, one NFL coach done a great job. It's Matt Patricia at Ohio State.
I mean, he fit right in.
I would be curious to see how he simplified, though. I mean, I don't think you can go run a D like, I don't know what he's doing in North Carolina. Bill Belichick, he can't be that complicated. But I'd be curious. I mean, he did a fantastic. He was better than Knowles last year.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happened. One more high school sports thing. Mickey Wilson, head coach at Myrtle Beach, is a Conway alum that played quarterback for Chuck Jordan. And his uncle in the 80s lost the state championship at Myrtle Beach to a one-arm field goal kicker at Burns. That's right. That game was 9-6. And the only way, I think it was 82 or 83. Only reason I remember it was there's a sign in the Beacon in Spartanburg. The local.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
You have these signs. And I remember seeing, because it was my high school I'd be going to. And my mom went to Myrtle Beach High School. So I always remembered the Seahawks and all that good stuff. So there's that. All right, we got to get out of here.
Yeah, let's get out of here.
Get me out of here, Percy.
Yeah.
Again, so hour and 55 minutes. Gamecocks will be down in Tampa. Complete coverage on GamecockCentral.com, TheBigSpur.com. And this is quite a way to end it.
Yeah, it wasn't necessarily. It was next to what I was trying to hit here. Let's just we'll get a bit different vibe here. Although
I'm gonna go arm wrestle now.
I know, right? Yeah.
Over the top.
Yeah.
So
we'll just
Ghost said, Cornblue would have a hot seat question for Shane today. Yeah, I mean, look, everybody's asking. I think it's a fair question. But I mean, you can't do anything about it. I mean, like I said, if you're in the SEC this year, there's no, if you're trying to be fair, and every year, there's a hot seat thing that comes out. Do I think
somebody's got to be at the top?
Do you think if they start well and start playing well, they're very competitive and look better? Do I think it's fair to keep it going? Absolutely not.
Right.
But right now, they're 0-0. So anyway. All right, check out thebigspur.com, GamecockCentral.com. Here is the membership special now. You can join for $1, 5-day free trial. Or not free, 5-day $1 trial. And then your annual membership bills, and it's 50% off. So you get all the great content plus On 3 plus Rivals for $5 a month. You're not going to find anything better than $5 a month for that kind of deal on a website. You join monthly, it's $11.99 a month. You get all of On 3, all of the articles. Like with both websites, like I said, all the articles are included, fullquarterfriday.com and thebigspur.com/GamecockCentral.com. For the Mad Dog, Phil Mullinax, it's JC Sherbert. Hope you all have a wonderful afternoon. SEC Media Days is here, and I'm sure we'll chop it all up about every little thing Beamer says and the players. But until then, arrivederci.